不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是扮了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是扮了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
Should 1v3, please? That's what I want to see out of this combination. I feel like he does have the damage to just assassinate the backline at this point. But Enzo has his eyes on the Baron. He's going to Stormbringer over and he's still They can honestly just wait for the wave to do their job. So Hong Attitude actually forcing themselves into a pretty bad situation. A very early teleport being used. Now they have a potential catch though, but really smart play from Lee Kai. He does have the scanner going. He's going to spot out the engage, and Jimian is in first. They are going to get Wing as the first target. The back Minji on the back line. Rest coming in with the backside. They get the 4-man slam, and we are ready to jam. That's 4 members down in an instant.
Against Machi-X, but Machi-X actually
was actually terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible, you know, we just complemented the macro.
Oh, there we go. The quickness goes in, but they don't find their target. Atlas stays alive, and Rest nearly dies. Hana also doesn't find Tristana. Finally, we have Genmai going back into the fray, but he's going to get tagged out by so many crowd control abilities. Mission dies instantly, though. Really good Destiny game, and that's a 3-man hip-up pulverize. He might not be able to walk away with this Baron. This is not an easy Baron take, as Mission is looking for his angle to engage. Minji has to use the ultimate on himself, and he is down. This could be out to a disaster. Double kill already. Who's gonna find the Baron play? And so he's bunting out. He's not gonna find it. Oh, he still steals the Baron from the wall. That was a blast code steal. The entire team from Bernard.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是扮了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。
We are family.
CDBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
once again, it's a triple kill for Lil B.
Welcome one, welcome all to the winners final of the PCS Spring Split Playoffs. Join with me once again is the king of coaches from Down Under, Calvin, and we will be here alongside you to experience some fantastic League of Legends. Calvin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great verbatim, and yeah, I mean tonight we have one exciting game in PSG versus Beyond Gaming. I think this is probably the matchup that I'm look forward the most because it is probably the closest fight you can get, closest matchup you can get in this playoff.
100%. With Beyond Gaming being realistically the only team that has challenged PSG at all, and every time they've faced off this year, it has been close, and they're the only team to actually defeat them, so I'm excited to see if they can replicate history and be at PSG once again, or PSG just continue their dominance and just run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I look at underdogs, right, in playoffs, I always just want them to win at least one game. I think, obviously, Beyond Gaming is one of the team. I mean, literally the only team that has defeated PSG in the regular season. So they definitely have the ability to take down, a couple games from PSG. Whether they can actually beat PSG, we don't know, and we'll see tonight.
Yeah, and when we look at how both teams have gone through the playoffs so far, PSG have looked unstoppable. They've shown us things we haven't seen from them yet, especially Maple pulling out the Akali, pulling out the Yone, looking terrific on both champions. We questioned, does he still have that killer instinct to play those types of champions? But he definitely proved us wrong, and he played them with very high proficiency.
Yeah.
And those sorts of questions are now starting to be answered by Maoan, because he hasn't really shown anything besides the control mages, besides the Azir. And is he capable or confident enough to potentially try and take down Maple in the mid lane?
Yeah, I mean, it might just be a little bit of a mismatch, right? With Maple shifting towards the assassin path and Maoan going for the mage path. And here we have the player of the week is Machi's Koala. And Koala, actually, one of the few supports that I think has a really, really high skill cap in terms of just mechanical plays, right? A lot of the supports in PCS have been struggling with engages, but Koala alongside Kaiwing are just the two players that can always reliably pull out engages.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. His use of Alistar in particular, always lining up the wall with the headbutt, trying to really make the most out of the CC chain is really impressive, and congratulations to him. And we look to see the MVP standings for the PCS. We see Gemini doubling anyone even close to him. It feels like every time MarchieX win a game, Gemini is MVP.
I just love the fact that there are 7 equal second players. It just shows that, it's not even just amongst the top teams, right? You've got 2 Beyond Gaming players, and then you've got the J team, you've got, you even have Minji from Bajaya Dragon. So, there's actually quite a few good players in PCS that have, really standout performances. And, yeah, I mean, congratulations to Gemini, because this man here, coming into the split, we think that, okay, how is he good enough to carry his new teammates and let them shine? And the answer is definitely yes, right? And you can see it just from his Talir in the early split, and then the fact that he has 10 MVPs.
Yeah, I mean, super adaptable jungler. We look to see the spring playoffs, how it's gone. It's been a really... It felt like a whitewash most of the playoffs. Every series has really been very convincing. Nothing too close. The closest being probably Boom Esports versus J Team in the first round of the upper side. So
yeah, I mean, in terms of In terms of like the game score, it definitely has been pretty one-sided. I mean, some of the games has been fairly close. However, it's just that a lot of the teams have pretty significant weaknesses in PCS, right? You've got teams that aren't really able to close out. You've got teams that throws at Baron. You've got teams that just doesn't really know how to play the early game. A lot of the teams just have this glaring weakness. And but we come back to today's game, right? PSG versus Beyond Gaming. Both teams, they have very clear strengths, and the weakness, so far I haven't seen a lot, right? PSG, I think, so far I think the weakness is probably just Hanabi. He hasn't really been performing like setting up heaps. He's just playing weak side this entire split long, but at the same time, he just wasn't challenged. This team overall just was not challenged at all. So, I really want to see Liang actually competing against Hanabi. And here we have PSG's roster. Hanabi in the top lane, River is your jungler, Maple is your mid lane, Unified Kaiwing makes up the bot lane duo.
I mean, when you see a team so dominant like PSG, Hanabi finding a weak point, you look towards him, but realistically, he hasn't been that weak. When you have no resources funneled into you, how you expect to stand out against the likes of Maple or Unified, who that's exactly where River likes to play around with Kaiwing, and I mean, it's been such a successful split for the team.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to ask, right, Hanabi doesn't even need to be on a carry because Maple, Unified, Kaiwing, even River is just carrying the game single-handedly. And here we also have Beyond Gaming's roster, Liang in the top lane, Husha is your jungler, Mao in mid lane, Kino, Doggo is your bot lane duo. And yeah, I mean, this team, right, I feel like their weakness is their ability to close out games swiftly. The game time has been extremely long for most part, and their game plan overall has really just been, accumulate an early lead, and then just maintaining that and just slowly snowballing by playing objectives.
Yeah, Beyond Gaming, even in the one game they did take down PSG, it was in a 36-minute slog it out, get to 5 items and fight it out kind of thing. It wasn't quick, it wasn't swift. They had an early game lead, they got first turret gold, but it wasn't as fast as a team like PSG, who we're so used to seeing win these 25-minute games with such a short average game time. But with that being said, Beyond Gaming, especially Doggo this season, has looked so good.
Yeah, and here we have the stats sheet for PSG, and you can just see, right? I mean, the only game that they dropped is on red side against Beyond Gaming, and on blue side they're obviously 100% win rate because they've only dropped one game. And I mean, like, this is just insane stats. You have the fastest game time, you have the highest Herald, Nash's, and Drake control, and I mean, okay, I did say Hanabi is the weak point, and you can kind of see it. The top 4 in KDA rankings in all 4 roles except for Hanabi.
I mean, when you're always in the bot side or the mid side jungle, you're realistically being left on an island, and you will be susceptible to dives. And that's nothing against Hanabi, and it's expected as PSG, as we just mentioned. They've all been to Worlds. They all have that experience on the world stage. So it's expected, but this level of dominance is really impressive. And when we look to see Beyond Gaming, we look to see their stats are still incredible. They've only lost games on the red side so far this split. They have an 88.9% win rate, first turret percentage. They really like to try and break open the bot lane with Doggo on Kai'Sa or the Tristana, try to really use that and funnel it around the rest of the map. And it's been so effective for them.
Yeah, I mean, Doggo also have the pocket pick in Samira. I think he's one of the very few players that still play Samira in the current patches. And here we have team stats comparison. So Beyond Gaming definitely have the best first turret potential, and they basically only I think there's only one game where they do not get first turret, and that just shows how methodical they play. They play their ways very well. However, they don't really play aggressive enough to actually just close out the game very early on. And then here we have a bot lane comparison, Unified versus Doggo, one of the most premier ADC in the league in Unified, and Doggo, one of the upcoming ADCs that Beyond Gaming has just been playing around.
It really is this battle of the bot lane. Like, you have Unified, you have Doggo, it's exactly where PSG and Beyond Gaming respectively want to play around this side of the map. Both of them have found so much success getting the gold funneled into their carries and then using that to win them the game, because they've been able to rely time and time again on having them to carry these team fights, put out the damage, and really make the most of it. But I'd like to see Doggo with the 28% damage share is really impressive, because he is really where Beyond Gaming funnel through. Whereas on the other side, PSG, they have Hanabi, they have Maple, who also make up a lot of that damage.
Yeah, but I think the biggest mismatch between Unified and Doggo, before we go into the picks and ban phase, is that I think Unified has this ability to actually just like scale naturally into late game regardless of how far it's put behind. Whereas Doggo on the other side, he gets ahead, however, he tends to just go a little too aggressively in the mid-late game, and he often just gets caught out in the front line during team fights. So, you know, that is basically the point that we'll look to spot out in the later games when both teams start playing. But now we have the bans and pick phase. Jinx being taken away from PSG alongside the Renekton, and Beyond Gaming are going for the just basic, you know, first pick bans in the Thresh and the Seraphine. And so far, you know, nothing too out of ordinary. The Tankage is going to get taken away by PSG because Beyond Gaming, last time they did show that Doggo will play Senna Tankage.
It's interesting to see that rather than the Tristana and the Kai'Sa being banned away, they're banning away these alternate answers to those 2 marksmen. And with the Senna even being banned out from Beyond Gaming, they're not willing to give over potentially a Senna Cho'Gath or a Senna Scion. There are so many different ways that you can use this marksman to make the most of it. And seeing the Kai'Sa locked in straight away for Unified, this does leave open the Hecarim. It is being hovered now for Hushas. Typically, we see the Hecarim pick one on blue side, but PSG prioritizing this Kai'Sa pick.
Yeah, I mean, with 280 carries being banned away already, right? Kai'Sa is probably undoubtedly the best AD here. And alternatively, you still have the Tristana that can be flexed both bot lane, mid lane, and potentially top lane. However, you know, in the last couple of patches, most of the time you do see Tristana going back to bot lane anyway. And it is going to get hovered, probably going to get picked. You know, I was going to say with Senna ban, I was thinking that maybe Doggo wants to go on his signature Samira, because, you know, Samira is actually one of those champions that doesn't really like Senna, because Senna doesn't have a projectile for her to block. But no, it is going to be a Tristana lock-in alongside the Hecarim. Really solid, you know, first 2 picks here from Beyond Gaming. PSG looking to round out the bot lane with this Leona.
Yeah, PSG prioritizing some heavy form of engage with the Leona. You have the Zenith Blade and the Solar Flare to really allow Kai'Sa to get into these fights, because when you draft a Kai'Sa, you're not drafting a front-to-back team fight. You're drafting a team fight that wants to go in, and then you have the Kai'Sa to get to the backline with the Killer Instinct and try to take down their carries before they're able to do anything. And one thing that has actually been picked here, this Sylas, lots of bans last week for this Sylas pick. So seeing the Sylas picked up here for PSD when it's on the table, I'm really keen to see how Maple will use this such a strong 1-2 item champion and try and break open the game with Maowan, who is, I think, Beyond Gaming's weakest member.
Yeah, I mean, Sylas into Hecarim is such a strong pick. You know, Sylas being able to steal the Onslaught of Shadows is actually so massive, and that just gives PSG so much backline access, right? You've got the Solar Flare that can engage without, you know, actually committing, and you can just fish for picks. And then if it ever lands, you know, you have Sylas being able to steal Onslaught of Shadows, and then you have Kai'Sa Ultra Instinct to the backline, and you can just assassinate this Tristana immediately before the teamfight even started. So, you know, this is really, really aggressive draft coming in from PSG. On Beyond Gaming side though, they're going for this massive AoE teamfighting potential. You know, you've got the explosive charge that can potentially deal out so much damage in an AoE. You have the Rel that can pair up really well with the Hecarim in both ultimates, and it's just so strong in terms of team fighting for Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, and as we see, PSG are yet to lock in a jungle champion. Beyond Gaming are looking to pinch the pool for River. He's able to play any of the meta junglers at the moment, so there's still the Volibear left up, there's still the Lilia left up for him. The Volibear is banned away now. And we do see Jace being banned, trying to potentially make an easier matchup for Hanabi. Maybe he goes something like the Renekton or the Gnar that we are so used to seeing in the PCS this season. And one thing I want to mention is with Beyond Gaming, they have such a Orianna-friendly team comp currently.
Oh yeah,
and
they do.
If PSG just want to take that off the board right now and say, Malwan, you can't play it, and that's exactly what they do, because you have 3 members potentially already that you can give that ball delivery service.
But at the same time, though, this comp is so good with an Azir. Right? Because Azir being able to like dish out so much damage, pairing it very well with the Tristana with the double pushback ultimates, gives the team so much space. However, Malwan actually going for the Akali. Actually, hold on to that thought, because Akali could still be top lane. But Akali, such a strong champion. I believe this champion is still 100% win rate in PCS so far, come 11.6. So it's very, very dominating champion, and I love it because Malwan, like we said before, so far he has only played 4 champions. It's Azir, it's Orianna, it's Victor, and the Ryze. However, PSG with another spicy pick, and they're just going for full backline dive at this stage. This Tristana is going to have a very hard time because you've got Paranoia coming at you, you've got Solar Flare coming at you, Ultra Instinct, and then you have Silas Ultimate. Whether it is the perfect execution or it is the Onslaught of Shadows. So this is actually very insane from PSG.
Yeah, and with PSG hovering the Ornn, trying to... Ornn brings so much to a team fight. You have the Call of the Forge God, you have the ornaments that he will ensure that you get to that late game stage of the game. You have that scaling with those ornaments coming through. And for Beyond Gaming, the Azir is up if that's what they want to go for. Showing that the Victor Hover is most likely sending the Akali to the top lane for Leong. A little bit disappointing that we aren't seeing Malwan trying to take it to the Sylas on the Akali, but it will be the Victor locked up at this stage of the game. And going up and down both of these team comps, which one do you favor? Or
to be honest, I honestly favor PSG team comp just because of the ease of execution. I'm very interested to see whether Liang can break open Hanabi with Akali, because Akali have a pretty weak laning phase compared to Ornn's laning phase, actually pretty strong. But at the same time though, Akali in the top lane against a tank means that she will be able to scale up very easily. So, if Liang is able to get to that level 6 mark, get to the level 9 mark where you max your Q, and then later on, as you max your E, as you max your ultimate, this Akali is just going to get stronger and stronger. It's basically the full assassin version of Kassadin. Once you hit that level 16, she's just so unstoppable. And if Liang is able to get to that place, maybe we will see Beyond Gaming for once where they're actually breaking the game through top lane.
Yeah, I mean, having this Akali, you have the Hecarim to pair alongside it. Even though Ornn is such an enigma at just turning dives. He's got, honestly, this champion has so much outplay potential under his own turret. And for an Akali to try and break that open pre-6 is pretty rough, but Hecarim is one of the champions that you definitely will be able to do it with. And I'm really keen to see if, like you mentioned, Beyond Gaming look to enable Liang, which is a look we haven't seen from them at all this split. It's always been put Liang on an Aatrox, on a Gnar, on a Renekton, let him play a weak side top, and just let him do his thing, and we're going to funnel resources into Dogo. And we are already on Summoner's Rift, getting straight into this one, no mucking around. And seeing this Akali with the Conqueror, she doesn't need fleet footwork for the sustain. She has gone full team fight.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention is the fact that Hecarim now takes Ignite. It's just such a strong summoner spell. The champion itself doesn't really need flash. I mean, not even the ghost sometimes, right? And this is just one of those games where ghost probably isn't needed. Their PSG's comp is not hypermobile, and it's just much better for Hecarim to have this combat stats because he will be able to reduce the healing from the Silas, and he will also be able to duel out the Nocturne, which is fairly weak early on.
Yeah, especially with the Kingslayer, really getting that lifesteal back, like turning those fights that are on a... Like, Silas loves to play around that knife's edge, likes to really try to eke that one out at the last second, having Conqueror stacked up and take that one away. With the Ignite in the mid-jungle 2v2, that can be the factor that can really stop the Silas from trying to snowball, because this champion will scale nowhere near as well as this Victor. This Victor will be doing lots of damage, but that is not what the Silas has been drafted for. He's been drafted to try and break open the mid lane, and I like to see, like you mentioned, Husha with this Ignite trying to stop the Silas from doing so.
Yeah, and also Husha actually just got a pretty massive clear leash from the bot lane of Beyond Gaming, because Kino actually used a crash down to block 2 auto attacks from blue buff, and that's actually massive, because that means Husha is going to be a lot healthier in his clear, and also he should in theory be matching River's clear, and because Nocturne does have a similar or maybe even faster clear with his passive.
Yeah, and going towards more on the summoner spells, we have both AD carries taking the cleanse, really respecting each other's respective supports. You have so many ways to get in with the Zenith Blade and the Solar Flare. Rel has Crashdown, she has Magnet Storm, she has the Attract Repel, she has so many ways to lock you down. And a well-timed cleanse stops the CC chain and lets you flash out, lets you Gale Force out, lets you just avoid just the whole squad going down onto you. And as we can see, Hanabi, in the early stages, Ornn is no slouch in lane, getting the better of Liang in that trade.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn with the Grasp of the Undying is just so strong in lane, and Liang will probably just have to suffer a little bit until he hits that level 6 mark. He gets that ability to kill people. Then that's when Hanabi has to be a lot more careful. But so far, Maoan is actually, beating up Maple quite hard.
Yeah, Maoan making the most of his range advantage that he has, not letting Maple get him with the chains, just using the beam, trying to space out, using the Q passive to give him the movement speed, and just poking down Maple, which is really good to see, like you mentioned. 6 CS lead has forced a cheetah recall from Maple. He has grabbed a Dark Seal for himself, so this won't be building into anything, and the refillable potion really strikes even more of a I need to survive and I need to get to the stage where I can kill you. And going for this Dark Seal means I want to kill you more. I mean, actually, no, it was a Doran's Ring. Did he start the Dark Seal?
I think he started Dark Seal, and he cheated recalled for a Doran's Ring.
Yeah,
Doran's Ring just going to give him a little bit more sustain in lane, and that's pretty crucial for Silas, because Silas, like, to be honest, this champion is a minion until he gets his first item. His early game doesn't do a lot of damage. He doesn't heal a lot, and Kaiwing actually just trying to crash this wave, and Kino doing a very good job of just stopping at the crash.
I mean, Kino with the unmounted form, he has the extra bonus stats. He has the shield, able to just absorb a lot of the minion damage, and Kaiwing trying to bully him out. But standing strong is the Rel. Horse not needed. He will absorb your auto attack damage. And looking towards the map, we do see the Scuttle Crabs traded out. It was both junglers starting bot side, however, it was Husha going towards the bottom side of the map. Nocturne, such a good skirmisher, really good at the 1v1. That's why we see him in the solo lanes. He's able to... He does so much damage that you're not ready for. You think of this champion who gets online at level 6 and just dives in, but in these early skirmishes, he's actually really, really adept at coming out on top.
Yeah, the fact that he does get bonus attack damage and also attack speed if you're able to block a spell is actually massive, and on top of that, you also have that lethal tempo that just basically wins out in the long run, because any long trade with a massive attack speed, you will always just win out.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd love to see what Maoan has bought first back. He has gone for the Oblivion Orb. He's saying, I don't want you at all to be healing up with your Kingslayer. I want to make sure that you are just going to be locked down. And when I want to kill you, you're not going to turn the fight last second. And he has respected that. And I think that's super intelligent for him.
Yeah, and then Chaos Storm coming out from both sides of the mid laner. Maple trying to match Maoan's clear by stealing his ultimate. And it's just very crucial for Maoan to just keep Maple in check in this lane, because if Maple on the Silas is able to get a free lane, it just means that the Silas can be unstoppable late game. This is like Maple, Silas as a champion right now is more of like a mid-late game champion. The longer, the later game you go, the more items you have, the more ability haste you have, the more Kingslayer you're able to put out, and the more healing you have in team fight. So, this champion is basically like one of those champions where you just have to sort of lock him down in mid lane. Otherwise he just gets out of control.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we do see he has rushed the CDR boots on his second recall rather, wanting to have the movement speed to gap close Maoan, trying to keep up with the queue, as we see how oppressive Victor can be when a super proficient Victor player like Maoan is. They're so good at kiting in, kiting out, proccing phase rush and running away, not letting you get onto them and just winning the trade out by default. So Maple trying to, alleviate that and try and get on top of him. And Nocturne isn't one of those champions that you see rush those CDR boots. He's not like any of the others. He has gone Iron Spike Whip. This is building into a Stride Breaker. And I want to mention, River has dinged level 7 now, so it could be Paranoia any moment for PSG.
Yeah, so far, River actually trying to catch up Maoan there, not going to get much success. Maoan just respecting the fact that River can be in the river, and but PSG actually setting up an invade on the red side of Beyond Gaming, and at this stage of the game, the trio in the top side is 100% stronger than the trio in the top side for Beyond Gaming. It is the Paranoia, it is also the Call of the Forged God that is going to come out ahead if they do fight a 3v3. So Beyond Gaming, respecting that, they're going to retreat. And, it's just a push and pull right now. They're actually trying to stop each other. Oh, never mind.
Oh, as we do see, the Paranoia does go down onto Mao, and he's tagged super low. Onslaught of Shadows enables Maple to take that one for himself. That's first blood, but Husha taking down super low here as well. But Leon gets the double kill, and perfect execution turns that one completely around and goes even, but it will be first blood for the Silas.
Yeah, that was pretty insane from Beyond Gaming there, because Maoan probably mispositioned himself a little bit, and we'll just see this once again, right? He's trying to get this wave in and ends up getting paranoid. Maple stealing the Onslaught of Shadows follow-up and kill Maoan there, and Akali just there in the right place at the right time, lands the perfect execution, lands the 2-man 5-point strike, will get the double kill and the double buffs, and all of a sudden, this Akali is online.
Yeah, this Akali has just been enabled, essentially. This Akali, we mentioned about how weak she is into the Ornn, not able to do anything. With these 2 kills funneled into her now, Liang is actually able to stand up to the Ornn. Ornn is so oppressive, but now that she has got a Rift Maker at 9 minutes completed,
wow.
Akali is now at the stage where she wants to drag these fights out, wants to stack that Rift Maker up, and look to take down potentially the Maple or the Hanabi. And it'll be interesting to see if Liang goes on another roam again, because that was a super fast rotation from Liang, completely beat Hanabi to the punch.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to mention is that Akali right now have a very short CD on her ultimate, and you can see it by the fact that her ultimate is already back. So, her kill potential all of a sudden is just so high. And the fact that he actually went Rift Maker is a little interesting, because right now, a lot of the times you do see Akali opting in for the Night Harvester. Instead, some Akali I've seen even goes for the Hextech Rocket Belt. That's not really needed this game, because, PSG does have a pretty short range comp. But Rift Maker is actually a pretty interesting choice, because it just tells me that he wants to stay in the fight for as long as possible.
Yeah, and Rift Maker allows Liang to challenge Hanabi. It allows him to challenge Maple. You're not going to be one-shotting these champions. You're going to be doing it over a longer fight, a longer skirmish. And Riftmaker enables the Akali alongside Conqueror to potentially take down these champions, especially the Ornn, where you might think she just doesn't have the damage output. It's all burst, but the Riftmaker allows her to win these extended fights. And it will be Shelly going over to the side of Beyond Gaming. They've been all over these neutral objectives for first Cloud Dragon for themselves and picked up Shelly post the first Shelly of the game pre 14 minutes. So, and with Ocean Dragon spawning the next 10 seconds, it's actually resets from Unified and Kaiwing. So potentially Beyond Gaming could try and sneak this one out, but I think they'll be there in time.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of just flipped the entire script that we have coming to this game, right? We did say Beyond Gaming plays towards lane a little more, goes aggressive in lane, gets the first turret, and then they will just sit on that lead and scale to like 3-4 items. However, this time Beyond Gaming, they actually got first dragon, they actually got the herald, and now they're looking at second dragon. And this is a really nice change coming into the semifinals because, Beyond Gaming, if they're consistently trying to pull out 30, 35, 40-minute games, then PSG is just going to punish you.
Yeah, as the Paranoia is used onto the Victor, Malwan is just completely blown up, but the gravity field buys so much time, but that is not enough, and River is ticking down now, and he is not been able to be taken down by Kino, but Unified here is doing massive damage. Killer Instinct is used as well. The Nocturne does finally fall as well on the back end of that fight, and that is a 2-for-1 Beyond Gaming favored, and they will be taking the second Ocean Dragon of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is so good from Beyond Gaming there, really nicely executed. Malwan buying so much time with that gravity field and also Chaos Storm doing so much damage, and that basically just turned the fight around. And let's just watch this once again, because Malwan once again is trying to get this wave in, and he's just going to get jumped on. But really nice reaction there from both mid and jungle of Beyond Gaming, just layering the CC perfectly there, and then Kino with the flash crash down ignite will take down River, and just really perfectly executed from Beyond Gaming, answering PSG's engage with basically flawless counter engage.
I mean, this is the second time that the Paranoia hasn't quite forced fights to go in the favor of PSG. The first time it was used, it was a 2-for-2. And this time it was a 2-for-1 for Beyond Gaming, and Malwan did so well there, like we mentioned. He had the gravity field down, the Chaos Storm ticking, whilst the two members were stunned up in Maple and River. And now this allows Beyond Gaming to try and attempt to take down this mid turret. It will be the two plates going over to Shelly, just sneaking in before 14 minutes, so it will be gold going over to both Husha and Liang. And we go towards the player gold stats. It is Malwan on this Victor. He's starting to get enabled, even though he doesn't have a kill for himself so far. He has 4 kill participation. He has been there in every fight, and with those 3 mid plates being over put into him, he is now getting very close towards his Leandris.
Yeah, and I mean, just then I think Shelly only gave gold to Husha. I think Liang and Mao wasn't there in the turret range, and it just means that this hack room is also accelerated. I think Husha so far is a bit of like an unsung hero, because every single time Paranoia is used in mid lane, he is there to the rescue. And obviously Malwan still dropped because of the sheer damage potential coming in from Maple and River, but Husha was able to just turn this fight around. So this is just really, really good from the jungler of Beyond Gaming.
Because so much of Paranoia's its oppressiveness is trying to mask where you potentially could be going. And Husha has been in the right place at the right time to answer and fight back for Beyond Gaming, and has done a great job of trying to nullify River. He's made both of the first 2 Nocturne ults not as effective as they could be, and this has allowed both of his solo lanes to get quite a bit of gold for themselves, and has allowed him, like you mentioned, to get accelerated as well. He has the Turbo Chem Tank, he has that first Mythic, he will be a super fast horse for the rest of the game. No, he does not have Ghost, but he still has Phase Rush, he still has the Mythic item, so he will still be fast and still be doing what Hecarim does, diving the back line with the Audacious Charge, and having that with the Onslaught of Shadows, trying to make PSG's life miserable.
Yeah, and this is also one of the very few games where PSG is, albeit slightly, but is behind in gold by 15 minutes, and it just shows how well Beyond Gaming is prepared coming into this fight. However,
Onslaught of Shadows is used, and Rivers CC'd up here. However, Maple could be caught in a little bit of trouble, but it is the Killer Instinct coming through from Unified. Gets the first one, second one picked up for Maple. That is a 2-for-2 fight. 3-for-2 fight going towards PSG, and they answer back immediately.
yeah, I mean, this is basically PSG just saying, guys, 2v2 doesn't work. Let's just 4v2 them. I think, the fact that Unified and Kaiwing moved a lot sooner than the bot lane of Beyond Gaming basically just turned this fight around despite, River just getting caught out immediately there. Paranoia didn't result into anything, and he's just going to drop. However, you have this Leona, you have the Killer Instinct from Kaiser that allows for a long-range follow-up engage. So, really well done from PSG. Just recognizing the fact that Beyond Gaming's mid jungle is currently their weak link right now. A lot of the fights were around this mid jungle, and this is basically where they need to play to actually break open the lane. And one thing I also want to mention is the fact that Ornn is now sitting at 2 items.
Yeah, Ornn having the Abyssal Mask to try and nullify potentially the Rift Maker. He has the Frostfire Gauntlet, so he will be a super tanky, getting a surprising amount of damage as well out of the item. Has not gone Sunfire Cape, has gone the more offensive oriented item. Pair that with the Abyssal Mask. I actually really like the Abyssal Mask. It allows the rest of PSG to be doing lots of damage as well to these targets that he is able to CC up.
Yeah, I mean, the PSG's team comp is all about assassination, right? You've got the Paranoia, you've got Silas, you've got Killer Instinct. All of these champions just wants to assassinate backline, and it's just going. The Abyssal is just going to complement that so well because Call of the Forged God is going to be able to apply so many stacks. Hang on.
But that is Paranoia used, but he has not pulled the trigger just yet. Call of Forge God as well. Onslaught of Shadows spearing up 2 members. Mao1 is forced to go golden, but the Rel will be taken down. Liang, perfect execution, takes the Silas down, and we now see PSG turning tail. It is 4v3 now. The first rocket jump is used. Doggo will get the reset, but I don't think anything more will be gained from it. And Beyond Gaming turn the tides back in their favor. This is truly the first game of a series that is tight-knit, and I am keen to see if it keeps doing so.
Yeah, I mean, Liang is just massive on this Akali and just really beautifully played team fight from Beyond Gaming because, like I said, PSG wants to assassinate the backline. However, I don't think they did the best job here. And let's just watch this once again because Kaiwing just a little bit ahead here. PSG decides to just try and jump on the backline here by using Paranoia and Call of Forge God. However, really nice buffer there from Tristana. Goes into Fog of War. Maple going in, but weren't able to assassinate Doggo, and all of a sudden Beyond Gaming lose their ability. PSG lose their ability to continue the fight because they just do not have the follow-up damage, and Beyond Gaming basically just cleans up PSG for the remaining of the fight, and this is just beautiful from Beyond Gaming.
Watching Liang hitting Hanabi on the Ornn, it looked like he was cutting through the Ornn like butter, and that's something that I'm not used to seeing, especially in Ornn as tanky as he is, and that is just thanks to both Conqueror and the Riftmaker. So Liang really showing the power of this item, of this build, going for more of a sustained fight, and it seems as though he's building into something like a Demonic Embrace. You have the blasting one as well as the as the belt, the nice belt as well. So more burn damage, more sustained damage for this Akali who is already accelerated.
Yeah, going for that semi-off-tank build is actually very smart from Liang because a lot of fights are going to go quite long from Beyond Gaming because PSG just have such a sustained heavy team right now, right? They're also pretty tanky with the Ornn, with Nocturne going for Strike Breaker, etc. And coming into the series, I actually criticized Doggo quite a bit before in terms of the fact that he's getting caught out so much. But that last fight, he didn't even need to use the cleanse. That's how good his positioning was last fight, and And all of a sudden, right, Beyond Gaming going into the next dragon, which is going to be Dragon Soul, Doggo is going to have this cleanse available, and it's going to be so hard for PSG to actually take down this AD carry.
Yeah, holding on to the Summoner Spell was crucial for him. It allows him to have that extra bit of safety like you mentioned. And with the Mountain Dragon coming up in the next few minutes, it will be both AD carries being able to get their second item of the game. So they're both going to be ready to fight. They're both going to be ready to make the most of it. And it's crucial that PSG are able to take this one down. Because Leon trying to trade onto Hanabi kind of just evens out the trade. The Ornn is just a powerhouse. He is the tank, demon slayer, assassin, one-shot hyper carry, a mobile gamer. I don't know where I was going with that, but we will be seeing both of these team fights, both of these teams crucially meeting at this dragon, because if Beyond Gaming are able to get Soul, it feels like Liang on this Akali will be so difficult to be taken down. Maowan will have that shield, have that extra resistance to survive the burst of the Nocturne of Maple as well, and it provides another layer of safety that Beyond Gaming would otherwise not have in a relatively squishy draft.
Yeah, and despite how one-sided the Dragon situation is right now for Beyond Gaming, but if you look at the goal difference, right? If you look at the overall map, say PSG is actually not too far behind elsewhere. So next fight is going to be the crucial fight. It is going to be the Dragon fight in 1 minute time, and you're going to be able to see both teams actually going head-to-head with each other with everything they have, and that probably will decide the game because PSG, if they are able to win just one team fight, they will be able to snowball that into Baron, they will be able to snowball that into turrets. Whereas Beyond Gaming, winning that next fight is going to mean that they will get Dragon Soul and they will be able to match PSG scaling, and that's actually also very important.
Yeah, the last two times these teams faced off, it was around a neutral objective that just broke the game. And we see Liang on a little bit of a flank, trying to get the angle, find Unified, find Maple, trying to find his target for his next assassination. He will be here. He isn't spotted yet, but PSG are suspecting that he could be in the backline. Husha, however, completely sunned up in the bouncy house, but we will see the lights turned off. And it will be Hecarim getting out on 1 HP, but it is Maowan getting the first kill. Onslaught of Shadows is used, stolen by Maple, and Kino is buying so much time. Attraction Repel is used, but he is finally taken down by Unified. Stride Breaker used by River, trying to close the gap, but it will be 1-for-1 once again, and we do see the dragon spawning up, and it is TP coming through from Maple. He is trying to get to this fight, and it's going to be so close. Both teams need to force this one up, but Beyond Gaming say, hey, we have 3 dragons, we're not willing to coin flip it, with 4 members on the team, with Leona coming up before the Rel, and we're just going to take mid tower instead.
Yeah, I like the decision here from Beyond Gaming, just because... Oh, never mind.
Or Everfrost is used, beautiful stuff from Maple, but it is Hanabi trying to take down Liang. Akali's buying so much time, that Shroud just being the distraction, and it allows Doggo to take down River on this Nocturne, and Beyond Gaming are starting to win these fights outright.
Yeah, before I go back to that situation, right, Husha here in the replay, he actually just tried to clear this ward and ends up really overextending a little too much. However, he does get away safely, and also Liang being able to get away safely is huge here. Obviously, Beyond Gaming still lost the fight here, resulting the loss of Dragon. But at the same time, they also made a really, really good call in just going to mid lane, because I think trying to contest the dragon with 1 person down is just going to get snowballed negatively for Beyond Gaming, and now they end up breaking open mid turret, and that opens up the map for Beyond Gaming so much. So I think overall, Beyond Gaming lost the team fight. However, in terms of objective, it's still a fairly even trade, and Beyond Gaming is still in the lead after all of that.
Yeah, like you mentioned, that could have been so much worse for Beyond Gaming. With both Husha, with both Husha making it out on 1 HP, as well as the flash being used to for Maowan to get out as well, buying so much time with the stopwatch, PSG aren't able to close the gap, because if those 2 kills go over, it is basically an even gold lead. And as we see the goal difference over time, it is actually 2k, almost 2k rather, in Beyond Gaming's favor, 1.5 thousand. And with the Baron on the map currently, that could be the crucial, that little bit of gold could be exactly what Beyond Gaming needs to tip themselves over in this next fight. Because even though we were talking about this next dragon, the soul point being where the game gets broken open, the next fight, the next crucial neutral objective, whether it be the Nasher or soul point for Beyond Gaming, will be where the game really gets closed out, because it is 26 minutes and we're starting to get to the point where PSG gets antsy and they like to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, that bit of gold should mean that Beyond Gaming would have their carries hit their item spikes just a little bit earlier than PSG, and if they're able to time that correctly and sort of like line them up with the objectives, then that would be crucial, because, you know, all of a sudden you have a 3-item Tristana versus a 2.5 item Kai'Sa, and that's huge DPS difference, you know. Or alternatively, you have a 3-item Victor versus like a 2.5 item Silas, and you know, this is just raw damage difference that, you know, PSG can't really overcome.
Yeah, especially with a champion like Victor, whose items age like fine wine, getting better in the late stages of the game. It will be a disengage. Husha will get away with his life. But one thing I want to mention is ornaments are online for both Kai'Sa and Ornn. So the gap does get close quite a bit. And we do see Kai'Sa has opted for the Hex Drinker. So trying to have that little bit of safety against Akali, against Liang, trying to make sure he's able to live through the burst with the Lifeline passive. And I think that's exactly what he needs, because when he dives the backline, he'll have the Lifeline shield, he'll have the Killer Instinct shield, and that could be the difference maker between Unified popping off in these fights and getting completely shut down.
Yeah, and I mean, not only just the Akali, right? Because Victor is also a late game monster. You know, he is trying to complete the Void Staff, and you know, that little bit of magic resist on top of the Lifeline passive, the magic damage shield, is what's needed for Kai'Sa to survive the burst that, you know, that Beyond Gaming is going to throw out. Unstoppable Shadow is just going to get used to clear the way for Maple. I believe it's just going to expire, so nothing much there. And all of a sudden we're going to see everyone just starting to converge to mid lane, because right now Dragon is going to spawn in 30 seconds.
Yeah, as the Void Seeker does tag onto Doggo, and the red turret is destroyed in the top side of the map, or rather bottom side of the map, it will be crucial, because 20 seconds remaining until this soul point. But for Beyond Gaming, they don't need to fight this out, but for PSG, they have to be here and they have to win the fight, because if you let Mountain Dragon go over, the false tank, the fake tank, just allows Beyond Gaming to have another thing up their sleeve in these fights. But Doggo is so far away from this dragon. He will be back in the mid lane. PSG have the inside track to the river. They have been here early. They have cleared the vision, so they are able to start this one up. But Beyond Gaming, they think, hey, if you want to take Mountain, we'll start up the Baron, but they have been going over ward. So PSG are aware of this, and it starts to be that dance, and they are starting it up. PSG will be trying to contest this one. Liang is on the backline, however. He is here. Paranoia is used. The trigger is pulled from River, but the flash immediately from Morel. Liang is stunned up, but that's a golden from the Victor, and we will be seeing River. He is taken down by Maoan. Kino does go golden as well himself. So many stopwatches, so much time being bought. But it is Beyond Gaming taking it up in this fight. Perfect Execution isn't able to get the kill, but this is even. Can Unified take him down? The isolated Q will take him down, and it is Beyond Gaming being triumphant. But however, Unified 1v1 against a horse. I know who wins this one, and it is a quadra kill from Unified. Hex Drinker saving his life.
Look, I was going to say it's such a half-hearted attempt to engage from PSG. However, they actually sort of just outsmarted Beyond Gaming, because Paranoia is being used on the front line on Kino. However, PSG's idea is actually to collapse on Akali. You know, look at Maple, and they actually stopped Akali from engaging there, which means that they are able to buy so much time to pull out an extended fight. And in an extended fight, you have Kai'Sa that just does so much damage with her plasma passive, and perfect execution isn't going to kill anyone at full health, because it's one of those spells that is literally, an execution. The lower health you are, the more damage you do. So, and at the end of the day, in ADC versus ADC duel, Kai'Sa will win out when both ADCs does not have any spells. So, really well played from PSG there.
Just seeing Unified kite that one out against Liang on the Akali, he was just orb walking so well, just getting every single auto attack down, proccing plasma as quickly as possible, and it just allowed him just wipe through the team fight. And now he does have 4 completed items. The Hex Drinker has turned into the Maw of Malmortius, and the Runa Hurricanes has been picked up, and there will be TPs coming out for this potential Baron fight number 2. And Beyond Gaming, they are forced to match this, but PSG, they could be bursting this one out before Beyond Gaming even have an answer. Onslaught of Shadows is used, but it will be the Baron going over to PSG. However, the fight does continue. Maple trying to dive the backline with the Onslaught of Shadows, but Unified grabs the first one. It is 1 for none. Now, in PSG, they have the Baron. They have won the fight so far. Fuchsia is trying to make something happen. He's trying to desperately get in, but it will be PSD walking away with the fight won and with the Baron buff, and they will now reset and get these waves pushed in.
Yeah, I mean, Maple actually just coming up huge fight after fight there, right? The Everfrost stops Kino from pushing forward, and then the stealing the Onslaught of Shadows is actually just so massive, and the Zhong is following that just by so much time, and you can see Beyond Gaming just cannot walk ahead because Maple is there. And Maple just being able to walk away safely, without dying after that Zhong is also just huge. So Maple just coming out ahead, taking winning team fights for PSG.
Yeah, and off screen just then, was that 2 members falling for Beyond Gaming? Like, I think we missed that. The death time is now at 30 seconds, and PSG, they could end the game off of this. It is 3v5, and they have so much damage on these auto attacks. They have the Baron and buff minions, and the lights are turned off, but intelligently, PSG are just using this to take down turrets. That is the first Nexus turret going down, and finally they pull the trigger. River dives down. Unified, he is so fed. He's doing so much damage. Maple has the perfect execution. He's able to get himself out after he dodges the damage from the fountain, and that is PSG game 1 towards them, and they looked super clean as soon as they had that advantage.
Yeah, I mean, PSG taking this game 1 in sort of a pretty unexpected fashion, right? I think for most part of this game, Beyond Gaming actually have control over this game, but all it takes for PSG is 1 mistake. 1 mistake means PSG is able to flip the game, get the Baron, and just close out the game. And Doggo probably just getting executed by Kai'Sa immediately. That was actually insane from Unified, just knowing his damage so well, and also her ultimate Ultra Instinct and also Lifeline passive just helps it out so much in these fights. So really insane performance from the AD carry of PSG this game.
All it was 1 kill. 1 kill and 1 assist. That's all Unified needed. And then his Kai'Sa looked so many items ahead of Doggo on this Tristana, and as we saw the off-screen double kill, that was incredible. Like, that was super clean, and PSG, they find 2 picks after Baron, and then they close the game out. There's nothing Beyond Gaming can do. They sniff blood and they follow it so fast, and they just make sure there's no way Beyond Gaming can just rally back, and I feel like that's the true difference between these 2 teams. I could be wrong. Beyond Gaming can prove me wrong. There are still potentially 3 games of Beyond Gaming to pull this one back. But PSG are so good at smelling lethal and just nailing it on the head.
Yeah, I mean, I think Beyond Gaming showed pretty well in game 1. They matched up really well into PSG. They obviously came in with a plan and also got multiple early objectives. However, the one question I have is that their ability to play around top lane. Akali was 4-0 at one stage of this game. However, I think they just weren't really coordinated enough to play a carry top laner at this stage. That for the majority of this split, they have been playing pretty heavily towards scaling, and that means usually front to back. So, it's a nice attempt from Beyond Gaming, and I think, it's a really solid attempt. However, maybe they just would they might just want to fall back to that normal front to back coming into game 2. And here we have, looking at the gold graph, looking at the end game stats, Akali, she only dealt 10k damage. However, all of those damage are done in team fights. So, I wouldn't really criticize Akali for that damage dealt. It's just that, in a team fight against Ornn, against Silas, against, Paranoia from Nocturne, it's just very hard for her to deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think the Ornn pick was crucial from PSG, making it super difficult, giving Akali like one true target to have to get on, and having enough peel around the Kai'Sa, and Kai'Sa's inherent ability to peel for herself as well, makes Akali's life so difficult. It really made Liang have to commit so much to get onto this Kai'Sa, but in these team fights, they peeled so well. They made sure that they had what it took to peel the Akali off the Kai'Sa, and as a result, Unified will be our MVP for Game 1, 10-0-3. He was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this man literally got a pentakill versus J-Team last series, and now he gets a quadra kill in the first game versus Beyond Gaming, and then 10-0-3, really massive performance coming from this AD carry. And like I said, no matter how far behind you put this man, he's just going to crawl back. He is going to just carry his team in the late game.
Yeah, it feels as though Unified has inherent late game scaling as a League of Legends player, and that definitely showed in this game. And that will be it for Game 1. We will be back after a short break for Game 2, so please don't go anywhere and join us again.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是扮了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。
We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
denies him passage with the pillar. Once again, it's a triple kill for Lil B.
Hello and welcome back for the second game of the winners final between PSG and Beyond Gaming. And I'm excited to see, do Beyond Gaming have what it takes to answer back after such a swift end to the game that PSG were able to find?
Yeah, I mean, PSG, right? They're kind of like the SKT like a few years ago, right? In terms of like PCS, because all it takes is one mistake. You know, they capitalize on one mistake in the mid game, they snowball it into a Baron, and then they will just close out the game very swiftly following that Baron. So I love that from PSG, you know, the decisiveness and how crisp they are when they get the lead. But on the other side, Beyond Gaming actually showing up pretty nicely in the early game. You know, this is something that we sort of talked about at the beginning of this series, right? Beyond Gaming, they're just not a team that really loves snowballing, and we still see it this game. You know, they have a 4-0 Akali. They weren't able to take fight after fight and just capitalize on the fact that this Akali is super fed. And at the end of the day, they just get outscaled because they have the ornaments kicking in for PSG. And going into game 2, I just sort of want to see Beyond Gaming sort of go back to their roots, go back to this front to back, and maybe they'll be able to beat out PSG. And on the other side, PSG, you know, they're looking great. The only one that I don't really like is that Nocturne pick. You know, I feel like that hinders River's performance quite a bit, because River, you know, traditionally, or not traditionally, but historically in Split 1, he's just this jungler that loves invading enemy jungle in the first clear. So, you know, put this man back on something like Olaf. Put this man back on something like Lilia, Udyr. Obviously, was banned. Just put him on a champion that can invade Husha.
Yeah, don't limit the don't put like a restriction gate on level 6. Don't make him wait. Make him fight now. Make him fight number 3. Just play for those scuttle crabs. And it will be Beyond Gaming picking blue side in game 2. As we see the bans come out, it will be Seraphine, Silas, and Senna banned away by Beyond Gaming, and it will be Jinx and Thresh so far as the bans for PSG. And with Beyond Gaming picking this blue side, what do you want them to do with it? Because they do have first pick here, they lose counter pick. Will it be a Kai'Sa with Hecarim banned out? The Kai'Sa hover is here, and it will be the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little curious with like the blue side priority in 11.6, because there's quite a bit of separation between teams. Like, some teams prefer heavily blue side, which we see, you know, with Beyond Gaming and also PSG. Both teams just never lost a game on blue side, and also when they had the side selection, they choose blue side. But at the same time, there are also a lot of teams that sort of value quite heavily in counter picks, and therefore they would choose red side. So bit of a difference here, you know, when you see both teams just prioritizing blue side, it just means that they're comfortable with playing the meta champions into whatever matchup they're playing against, and they have a lot of priority picks. So, you know, Beyond Gaming, I think, you know, with the fact that they're picking blue side, means that they just want to go back to comfort, and they just want to play the game how they always played it.
Oh, seeing the Renekton Nidalee locked in for PSG, one of the tried and true top jungle carries. Like, how do you survive the gank, the spear after the stun, securing it? And PSG have drafted quite heavily towards the top side, even though it is a blind pick Renekton. And the answer from Beyond Gaming will be the Udyr, as well as the Alistar, to accompany Kai'Sa in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, that is a lot of single target lockdown there, you know, with Alistar and also Udyr. And I feel like this tells me that Beyond Gaming sort of wants to play a little more dynamic. You know, they want Udyr to just roam around, and also the Alistar to follow the Udyr. And that's just exactly what Beyond Gaming needs to do, because PSG with that Renekton Nidalee combo, I kind of just feel bad for, you know, whether it's Liang or Mawan that has to face against that, because it's just such a deadly combo. You can't itemize runes against it, you can't really itemize items against it in the early game, because one's doing heavy AD damage and the other's doing heavy magic damage. So this is just one of those very early game snowball combo. However, at the same time, time, it's got a very weak late game. So, if Beyond Gaming is able to play to their a team identity and just play towards that late game, maybe they were just able to neutralize this Renekton Nidalee pick. And as we go into the second ban phase, we have the Rakan being banned out on Beyond Gaming, just denying further engagement potentials and pick potential, and PSG banning away top lane that's good into this Renekton, and also that can survive the Renekton Nidalee combo in that Gnar.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like I was going to say a Jace or something like a Sion. It will be the Sion banned out, trying to force a different tank for Liang if he wants to go that route, trying to survive this just tried and tested combo, something that is so difficult to itemize against. Like you said, split damage. How do you even stop it? Like, it's going to happen, and it will be the Nocturne banned out for Beyond Gaming. But potentially, like, the Nocturne can go mid, and Nocturne mid is super strong. Don't get me wrong. You have access to both the top lane and the bot lane, and maybe they were thinking River didn't pilot very well, but Maple definitely could, knowing that Maple is just the Giga mid lane king of the PCS. And the first pick for PSG will be the Leona, so more heavy lockdown for the side of PSG.
Yeah, no, sure it's not going to be the Yuumi, but yeah, I'm a little curious about this Nocturne ban because, like, Nocturne mid lane is definitely viable, but at the same time, PSG, they don't really want to just hard go in, I feel like. They want to just leave Renekton in the side lane, and at the moment, right, their comp have just a lot of different identities. They have the Snowball in the top jungle, and then you have the scaling in the bot lane. I feel like it's probably better for Beyond Gaming to just ban out a bit of a front line support, and that puts PSG in a very awkward position. However, Beyond Gaming actually going for the Gragas top lane to try and neutralize this Renekton Nidalee combo, and also going into Mawan's comfort. 6 games of Azir, this makes it the 7th game, and this Azir so far for Mawan is still undefeated.
Yeah, Maowan on comfort and an incredible champion in the Azir, super blind pickable, but there are certain champions that can do quite well and try to solo kill Azir, one of those being the Yone, and a spoiler alert for anyone who didn't watch last week, Maple looked terrific on it, and another champion he also looked terrific on was the Akali, and that will be the final pick for PSG, and what an explosive pick that is.
I love it. I actually just love this verbatim, because Beyond Gaming, going back to their roots, going back to this late game 5v5 front to back, and I just love it. You've got the disengage from Azir, you've got the disengage from Gragas, you have the Alistair that stops people from going in, you have the Udyr, etc. You're just so many tools to play out the team fight, and PSG, just showing how comfortable they are in the series, because they are going for this full explosive, volatile top side trio in that Renekton Nidalee Akali. This trio doesn't have wave clear. If they are not able to snowball early game, if they're not able to execute team fights perfectly, this team doesn't work late game. They just do not. Everything goes down to Unified, if that's the case, and Unified doesn't have anything to protect him.
Yeah, like, you've drafted Leona, who goes in. She does not protect the Tristana. She makes stuff happen. And this Tristana is going to be left all on her little own yordle body to try and make stuff happen, try and peel for herself. And she's in Kaisa. She doesn't have that killer instinct, that shield, that peel. So it'll be super difficult for her to survive if the early game does not work. But PSG, they've shown so many different flavors. They have one color for every single color of the rainbow, and it will be super early game. They have the Akali, they have the Renekton Nidalee, and I love to see explosive drafts, and this is as explosive as it gets. And I am super excited to see if PSG can execute, because this team comp wants to end prior to 30 minutes. They don't want Azir to get 3-4 items. They don't want Kaiser to get 3-4 items. They want to win fast, and they want to win now. And as we go into the Foggy Summoner's Rift, it will be game 2 for Beyond Gaming versus PSG in this winners final of the Pacific Championship Series. It's going through the runes. It will be mostly stuff that isn't super uncommon. It will be Nidalee going for the Conqueror, and it will be Maple going for the Fleet Footwork, as as you are playing into Azir on the Akali, you need that sustain that Fleet Footwork provides you, and I think that's an intelligent choice.
Yeah, and there's just a lot, and I mean a lot by like capital, all caps, a lot of tenacity coming in from PSG, and I mean, to be fair, it's kind of needed because you don't want to get locked down. You know, the Gregor's body slam actually follows up with a stun, so it's very crucial there. Husha is going to play as a stun bot in the late game, so it's very crucial to not get locked down, because as soon as you get locked down, Azir is just going to delete you. And on the other side, Beyond Gaming actually opted in a lot of CDR, or like someone spell CDR in that Cosmic Insight. So maybe they just want to consistently take PSG in late game fights, and then the later game you go, the fights become more explosive, and the shorter they are, and some of the spells become more crucial.
Or as the Zenith Blade does connect, it will be the headbutt away of Kaiwing Leona not being able to follow, and that is a one trade for PSG. Already explosive charge into the Kai'Sa will proc, and as we've seen so many times this year, especially early game, it will be the Tristana getting the better, and another Zenith Blade super aggro from Unified and Kaiwing, really showing lane dominance already. And Doggo is in such a tough decision now. Do I stay? I've used a pot. My flash is blown, and I do have cleanse. I don't have heal, and with River pathing to this bot side, he's actually stolen away Husha's Krugs. And I mean, we talked about Renekton in Italy, but I don't think River's been spotted out yet.
Yeah,
so this could be a dead Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I don't really know what's happening. I don't know why is Husha pathing to bot lane like this, because it was clearly a vertical jungle, and because it was spotted. River walking into red buffs late invade was spotted, but here we have actually Husha. Maybe it is the 300 IQ play trying to cover this dive.
Yeah, as we do see the spear does land, the jump away, flash being forced from both junglers. Husha avoiding the Zenith Blade crucially. So so much prep, so much anticipation, and it all fizzles out for a couple of summoner spells blown. But we look to see the CS scores, and it will be Husha having the higher CS, but we look at the camps for River. He has 5 camps up currently. So that CS score, that creep score will just naturally go into the Nidalee. And where do you go as Udi? You have to make something happen whilst you have no camps up on the map. And River is here, super active in the mid lane once again, just trying to let Maple shove the wave in and reset. And now with the mid priority, trying to take Scuttlecrab number 2 for himself, and he's forcing Husha out of the jungle. Once again, River is all over Husha early.
Yeah, I mean, Husha actually just making so many mistakes this game in terms of early pathing. There was a clear vertical jungle, and I was about to question why did PSG vertical jungle bot side, because they want to play this Renekton Nidalee. However, it ends up just working out for them, and Maple being able to get out of lane against an Azir is also pretty insane as well. The fact that Akali have lane priority against Azir is something that you don't really see day to day. And right now, everything is just working out for PSG. However, Beyond Gaming, it's not the end of the day, because they still have that scaling. The first blood has not gone to anyone just yet, and Beyond Gaming overall is still very even.
Yeah, it's really just early game level leads and CS scores for the members of PSG. Husha's jungle camps have respawned, so he won't be too far behind the Nidalee. He is a level down currently, but he will be dinging 4 quite soon. And we can see just here, Azir has so much precedent over this Akali. He's able to shove waves so quickly, and Akali's wave clear has been nerfed on 11.6. She did get a buff to her team fights, a buff to her damage, but at the cost of the cost of her Q with the energy increase, and that forces her to be much slower getting through these creeps.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see how PSG starts breaking open this game, because it is 5 minutes into the game, the dragon has spawned, but PSG so far, not looking like they've made any moves yet. There's not really any dragon setup. Akali just reset, and Mawan is also back, after a reset and with a TP. So, so far everything is still fairly even, and the timer is once again still on PSG's side, and they have to make something happen. If they do not make something happen as Beyond Gaming gets their first item, things will get harder and harder.
Speaking of timer, crucially, Doggo's flash is so close to being off cooldown here, and Kaiwing's trying to make something happen. He's tracked the summoner spell cooldown. He knows Doggo's about to get it, but this pressure of potentially a dive coming out from PSG allows River to get the priority and start up the first Cloud Dragon of the game, something that we haven't seen them. But hang on, Beyond Gaming are here, they sniff it out, they bring Husha as well, but with this Azir's lane priority, he shoved in a Kylie, so that's 4 members that are around here for this dragon. However, everyone thinks better of it. Feels like a super risky, unnecessary play on both teams' behalves. But PSG are happy to clear the vision and look to start up the dragon once again. And it seems Beyond Gaming are onto their trail once again, and the Azir shoves in the Akali once again, and it resets to nothing. It's so much tension.
I like this rotation from Beyond Gaming because they know, their team comp doesn't want to engage. However, they just want to delay the objectives for as long as possible. Husha was pathing top lane of his last reset, and then he was called to bot lane to dissuade PSG from starting this dragon. And it was just really nicely done because, just sacrificing a bit of Husha's tempo so that PSG aren't able to take this early dragon means quite a bit. Because the more time PSG spent taking the dragon means the more time Beyond Gaming have to scale up the Azir and the Kai'Sa. So, really nicely done there from PSG and from Beyond Gaming, and now PSG have to look elsewhere.
Husha was spot on an award, so they were aware, the members of PSG, that he was here in this side of the map, but it will be Hanabi greeting him in his tri-brush, and it will be First Blood going over to Hanabi on this Renekton. Beautiful stuff from PSG. We saw the deep vision implemented early on. They were aware, they were tracking this Udyr. He wasn't even level 6 when he went down, and now it is here. Kaiwing has been brought up from the bot side. Kino is here to answer, and as a result, PSG will think better of it, just turn their attention to Shelly, trying to get her nice and early, 8 minutes into the game, super quick, trying to grab this first Rift Herald.
Yeah, Husha has been very questionable this entire game. Like I said, PSG weren't able to get this dragon, so naturally they will move on to the other side of the map. This is basically just standard pro play, where if one objective fails, you just immediately move on to the next one, and the next one is this Rift Herald at 8 minutes. So Husha, not respecting the fact that PSG has shifted their entire roster to top side, will give up First Blood, they will get a consolation prize in that dragon. However, PSG now have this herald, and they will be able to funnel gold and accelerate their solo lane members.
Yeah, we've seen Beyond Gaming start to stack the dragons, but it wasn't enough for them. Herald is here. River playing around that vision that isn't there. Hanabi is here. The Fury is stacked, and it will be him living on the slightest amount of health. The gank will not work, but Herald is still here if they want to try and crack open this top lane. Teleport is available for the Grags to come back, but I have a feeling River wants to use this Herald to accelerate Unified, accelerate this Tristana, and get him into one of those carry performances once again.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised the fact that River didn't just drop the Herald there, but I guess, he still have quite a bit of time because the next dragon is still in 4 minutes. The Herald will expire by then, however, he will be able to drop the Herald closer to Dragon Spawn, and maybe that will put PSG in sort of like a rock and a hard place, because then they will have to answer 2 objectives at once. That's probably his plan. Alternatively, he can probably just drop it bot lane against Unified. However, now that Kai'Sa is getting close to her first Q upgrade, probably gets at this reset. Yes, he does. And it means that it's going to be hard for PSG to actually shove in this lane in the bot side. So, maybe, just maybe, River is keeping this Herald so that he will be able to make Beyond Gaming play 2 objectives at once come the second dragon.
Yeah, such a smart play, having that Herald, trying to use it as a distraction. Yes, you do get the gold as well, but you draw the attention from a dragon, trying to dissuade Beyond Gaming from stacking these dragons even further than they have already. I believe the Herald will most likely time out before the next dragon comes up, so they won't be able to use that the way they want to, potentially. River is in the mid lane here, trying to find something on Mao1. Will drop the trap over the wall to potentially catch out Husha. The spear will go very wide, and River will think better of it, will run back into his jungle, will retreat. And Maple managing this lane much better. He has the Mercury treads to just get through the poke of the Azir. Yes, this Akali won't be doing much burst damage just yet, but he's paid the toll of the Azir to get through the laning phase, and now he's up 3 CS over the Azir.
Yeah, so far PSG is just running around the map very swiftly, just going from top to bottom and back to top lane, and that's what I love to see, because their comp consistently needs to look for fire. They need to look for pick, and they need to look to snowball. If they do not snowball, then things just gets pretty bad for them in the late game. However, here we do see Beyond Gaming actually answering the bot side priority pretty nicely, with Husha just sitting here in the bot lane.
Yeah, Husha is here already, predicting River to be on the gank, but Husha does stun up Maple. Maple, however, he is level 9, he is quite strong, has a significant level lead over the support of Beyond Gaming. The Herald won't be used once again, so just holding it for a very long time is River, just hesitant to drop Shelly on the Rift, and it's very close to timing out. You see, he'll have to use it or it will expire. I'm sure he just got the charge, the purple glow saying, hey, you have Shelly, you better use it or you'll feel like a fool. And with 3 turret plates remaining for Beyond Gaming, PSG will just continue to funnel these plates into Unified, and with that spear landing onto Kino, the threat of a potential dive with the Nidalee Leona, the Solar Flare is online as well. It will mean first turret will go over, but hang on, Hanabi will be, the explosive cask will allow Leon to get away with his life, and Hanabi will have to run away, and that will be first turret gold going over to PSG.
Yeah, and with that, PSG also gets a massive tempo going into the second dragon. Unified will be able to reset much earlier than Doggo, and they will be able to get into this bot side river a lot earlier than Beyond Gaming. And at the moment, PSG are just making the right plays. Beyond Gaming will be relegated to the other side of the map, because I don't think it is the best idea for them to contest bot side dragon. But Hanabi, on this Renekton, he was able to bully out in an unfavorable matchup, and things just not looking so good for Beyond Gaming in this laning phase.
PSG have done such a good job of getting the little advantages and using them to get more advantages that are a little bit bigger. And as a result, you see 1 kill is on the board, and it's in PSG's favor. That kill will not grant you 3,000 gold. It's the little things they're doing. It's getting those turret plates with the Rift Herald. It's getting the Rift Heralds itself, and River is able to grab the Infernal Dragon. It will be the Ocean Dragon going over, the Ocean Dragon coming to the Rift. It will be Ocean Soul, a super highly contested soul, one of the best debatably between Infernal and Ocean, and it will be Husha trying to find something. However, Zenith Blade does land onto Husha. He will just run away. The Emperor's Divine completely going wide over Maple. He will dive over the wall with the Shuriken flip, and he will take that all the way back, just not able to take the execute. And Doggo lives on the slightest amount of health. River will take him down. Beautiful knock-up from the Alistar, but it's just not enough. Beyond Gaming doing something. Sorry, it will be enough rather, and Beyond Gaming do come out of that 1-4-2, and they're able to just etch their way back into the fight and not lose everything as a result.
Yeah, and this is really bad for PSG, because they do not want... Okay, so firstly, they do not want to take a full-on 5v5, and secondly, they can't afford to lose fights like this. Really nice Emperor's Divide there to actually separate Maple, and Maple are just... all he can do is just a bit of damage, a bit of poke damage with the perfect execution with the Shuriken flip, and PSG just doesn't have that AoE damage, the consistent damage that Beyond Gaming brings with that Azir and with the Kai'Sa. So PSG making a pretty big fumble here, and Beyond Gaming will now get this Herald, and they will probably look to do a counterpunch against PSG.
Yeah, Beyond Gaming trying to just drag this one back, try and drag it out in their favor. It is 3,000. Gold lead still for PSG, so they aren't quite there just yet. One item for PSG. Massive power spikes for the likes of Nidalee, for the likes of Renekton. He has gone for the Gore Drinker this time around. It will not be the Stride Breaker. Trading potential gap close for the likes of Lifesteal. However, Kaiwing could have just caught out the Azir. So much spear damage coming out. Immediately seeing just that Night Harvester with the Nidalee, that one item power spike with the likes of the Sorcerer Boots. Just it completely explodes Maoan. And once again, the story for PSG is linking Kaiwing and Maple, making plays together on the map.
Yeah, I mean, Mao just getting a little too close to danger there. And I just don't like the fact that he flashed before using Emperor's Divide, because I feel like if he immediately casted Emperor's Divide, he would have been able to survive. But, you know, nonetheless, he did get caught out there, and PSG all of a sudden just breaking Beyond Gaming's tempo. And they will, as a result, get this top lane turret, and all it's left in terms of tier 1 turret for Beyond Gaming is this mid lane. Now, PSG is going to siege very hard in the mid lane, and Beyond Gaming needs to defend. They need to slow down the pace, they need to stop PSG's tempo.
And with Unified on the Tristana, Bandle Gunner, #1, turret destroying extraordinaire. She is in the mid lane, so PSG will be trying to do exactly that. And as we see the goal difference over time graph, you see it so heavily in the favor of PSG. 4k gold at 17 minutes is nothing to scoff at. The largest gold lead, I think, of the series so far. And with Unified, so much gold just funneled into him once again. Like, it didn't happen last time in the series, like last time in the previous game. However, we've seen it time and time again. And with this gold, he is so adept at just making the most of it and just using that to get objectives, using that to get pressure and grab turrets.
Yeah,
and
I
with
think
one standing in the mid lane, that's what he'll be trying to do.
Yeah, I think the one upside for Beyond Gaming right now is the fact that everyone bar support have one item. And have their mythic completed, and that's very crucial because it just means that Beyond Gaming is actually not that far behind PSG in terms of item progress. It means that, you know, come this next dragon in 45 seconds, Beyond Gaming can still put up a fight, and PSG still have this harder to execute team comp. As long as Beyond Gaming does not get caught out, as long as Maoan, the person who does not have Banshees, Zhonya's, or Cleanse, doesn't get caught out by Solar Flare, then Beyond Gaming should have a pretty decent position coming into the next dragon fight.
Yeah, it'll be super crucial for Maoan to have himself in a safe situation. But however, Hujo is trying to make a play onto Maple. And speaking of Maoan, he is here in the top lane as well. Just a little bit of poke as Maple gets his way out. But it will be Shelly dropped into this top turret. And with no real answer from PSG, they will most likely be just trying to continue breaking open the mid turret. Maoan will get the charge off, but Maple will take that one down. But with a top side play being made by Beyond Gaming, River is trying to take this Ocean Dragon for himself. He drags it onto the brushes, trying to be as sneaky as possible. But Liang and Huja are here. The smite fight could happen. Beyond Gaming think better of it, and that's the second dragon now for PSG. They're starting to stack up.
Yeah, I like Beyond Gaming's thought process, but, you know, in terms of execution, it just really wasn't there, because Beyond Gaming, they were trying to drop a Herald in the top lane, force PSG to move topside, and also trying to hard siege mid lane, you know, trying to force PSG to go back to lane to defend 2 turrets at once. However, PSG just identifying the fact that, you know, Beyond Gaming just wasn't there in time, and also they don't really have the minion waves to actually continue to siege. River is just going to steal away that dragon, and at the end of the day, PSG didn't actually lose any tempo, and it's actually a pretty big win for PSG, because now PSG is approaching the dragon on their roster, and, you know, and it's going to mean that Beyond Gaming, they have to fight for next dragon, because they don't want to get put into a position where they have to fight for Dragon Soul.
Yeah, continually, it's the little things that PSG do to add up. They make the better macro decisions, and they use that to continue to extend their gold lead. It is now ballooned down to 4K. It has actually kind of stabilized a little bit rather than ballooning, and in Beyond Gaming's credit, they still have the scaling on their side. You still have the Azir, you still have the Kai'Sa, you still have the potential to pop up in a team fight, and crucially, Azir has the flashback off cooldown now. Yes, there wasn't a dragon fight there, but it will be available if he does not blow it prior to the next big fight for him to do it. Hanabi just stealing over some raptors, who should not much he can really do. Trying to potentially smite that one away. He does. Sneaky bear making the crocodile mad. And
Maon might get caught out here by River. And
or the spear does land, and the streamer shuffle will be used to get away.
Yeah, and I mean, I just feel bad for Husha. I mean, like, on the one hand, like, he kind of made a lot of critical mistakes in the early game, and that's what put him in this position. But at the same time, PSG just punishing Husha's mistake so well this entire game, just denying camp after camp, and this man is now 2 levels down. Solar Flare is going to get used to get this first tier turret, and all of a sudden PSG have now cleared all the outer turrets. They have the entire map to play, and this is very crucial for PSG because this is a comp that requires a lot of space. When it comes to team fighting, you want both Akali, the Nidalee, you want the Renekton, like you want them to come in from different sides of the map, because if they aren't able to do that, it's very easy for Beyond Gaming to disengage them. It's very easy for them to take team fights, but PSG nicely done here, clearing all the outer turrets, and it just makes Beyond Gaming's team fighting just a little bit harder.
That fear of there is a Renekton waiting for you in a brush that you do not have quite warded for Beyond Gaming is at an all-time high at this point of the game. You have the Renekton, he has gone Randuin's Omen second, so he will be a tanky crocodile. He does have the lifesteal from Gordrinker as well, so he will be able to withstand quite a bit of the damage coming through from the likes of Doggo and Maoan. So he's really trying to be a big meatball and soak as much damage as he can and just dive onto Doggo and Maoan, trying to force them to panic and use ultimates defensively, because if those are used in that manner, it makes the champions a little bit less effective than they otherwise would be, making proactive plays, making the big explosive team fight winning plays. And I think from Hanabi, that's super intelligent, trying to be tanky rather than just trying to be that like bruiser build.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really nicely done from Hanabi, and also like, I just love the fact that he's consistently putting himself in the flank position. Whenever PSG is contesting mid lane priority, you will see Hanabi actually just sitting slightly behind Beyond Gaming, just in case any fight breaks out. If any fight breaks out, you will have a crocodile that appears behind the enemy line. So this is really well done in terms of rotation from Hanabi. And just look at the items, I was going to question why Maoan went for the Liandry's, but at the end of the day, it kind of proved right, because Akali once again going for this off-tank build, and also Hanabi on this Renekton going for an off-tank build as well. So before I was questioning, because I was thinking that maybe Azir should have just gone Luden's Tempest, because it gives you more burst. Also, you can't really trigger the passive from Liandry's, because PSG doesn't have a lot of health in build. But nope, I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, super intelligent from Maoan, realizing that, hey, these fights might go a little bit extended. I'll trade burst for sustained damage, even though I have so much of it already in my kit with the Sand Soldiers. So super intelligent from him, but once again, River sneaking away these dragons straight away off the timer. And if he's able to do so, I mean, Husha's in the top side. There's no members of Beyond Gaming that are even relatively close to this dragon. And now this forces Soul Point. The clock is on for Beyond Gaming. Will they be able to be strong enough to compete against PSG in 5 minutes' time? Because if the answer is no, that Renekton and that Akali that just built off tank got a hell of a lot tankier.
Yeah, I mean, like, so far, Maoan and Husha, I just don't like the rotations, because they really need this Azir to consistently hover mid lane. Azir is very inactive in the side lane. The reason why you want him in the push is, to collect as much gold as possible. But, at this stage of the game, I just don't know how much you can give before you have to take the fight. And by the time you have to take the fight, PSG is just so well prepared. And also, just then, when you see the Doggo, the AD carry, have to give Wolves to Husha, it just shows that how far behind Husha is to a point where, your carries have to give gold to your jungler so that he's staying relevant in the game.
Yeah, 60 CS down is the CS deficit for Husha, and that is so exponential. River did such a great job of denying so many early jungle camps, and you look at the level deficit too. You see River is level 14, and you see that Udyr, he is level 11, a measly level 11. As the Solar Flare does go wide, it will use, BYG will feel inclined to drop the Sun Disc turret to try and stop the push, stop the pressure from PSG. But as a result, PSG continue to do more of the same, fight the vision fight, trying to get that cleared out, get their deep wards in, and try and play around darkness, try and find these flanks. And as you mentioned, it's Hanabi on this flank once again, but Beyond Gaming try to find the engage, but nothing's going to happen. Body Slam will land onto Kai Wing, Explosive Cask will not be used. Hanabi running at Maple, but Maple really just ignoring him with the fact he has so much health built. And here's Hanabi on the flank. It will not result too much, but more of a dissuade from PSG, ignoring, trying to avoid Beyond Gaming, trying to make a pick happen, trying to force a fight that they want to fight. But PSG will turn onto the Baron, and as a result, BYG, they have to be here. Beyond Gaming have to try and contest this, but there's 5k gold down, and Maple is just on this flank, always threatening this dive, always threatening the carries of Beyond Gaming, but Husha will go onto him. Kailing is burst so low, Solar Flare will go wide of everyone. Maple will go golden, buying so much time. Hanabi will get so much life stealing, and that will be the first kill going over the River. Traded away, that is a double kill going over, the triple kill for PSG, and Unified cleans that one up on the back end of the fight, and that is the ace for PSG. Super clean.
Yeah, I mean, PSG just playing the flank game so beautifully, right? They started off with Hanabi actually flanking in the mid lane, and as they moved towards Baron, they shifted. Hanabi now becomes the front line, and Maple now becomes the flank, and it was just so beautifully done, and it put Beyond Gaming in such an uncomfortable position that they had to take a team fight that just honestly not favorable for them, despite having a teamfight come, and PSG will ace Beyond Gaming and take down game 2 of this best of 5 series.
We gave them a 30-minute timer on their team comp, and they ended in 28 minutes. As swift as last game, PSG, they find the fight, they find the ace, and they close it out. 2-0 up over Beyond Gaming. Beyond Gaming need to find something. They need to find an answer to PSG, who are so dominant. Congratulations on Game 2.
Yeah, I mean, PSG showing that they are able to just play an aggressive team comp. Let's just watch this once again, because Maple with this very beautiful side lane flank, it's just really nice because I was talking about how this team comp always need more person on the other side. Beyond Gaming was actually pretty close to winning this fight, but however, Maple's Zhonya's actually just proved once again very crucial. In the last game he was on Silas, that Zhonya's was very crucial in stopping Beyond Gaming from continuing the fight, and this time he also does the same thing. The Zhonya's prevented Beyond Gaming from continuing the fight, and it just turned the tide around. So really well done from Maple, just showing his skill and his experience.
That last team fight felt like a wallet gap. That 4-5k gold lead was really how those health bars didn't quite drop for PSG. Unified escaping on a slither, rocket jumping out. You saw Maple buying so much time with the extra tank he had with the item leads, and that was the difference. PSG, they knew they could win the fight with the gold difference, and they did just that. It's the experience of all 5 members. They've been to Worlds, they've done it, they've found so much success for this region, and they're once again using that knowledge of the game as a whole to just close it out so quickly, so swiftly.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those team comps where I'm just like, hey guys, if you don't win by 25-30 minutes, you basically lose a chance to win the game. You know, you literally cannot play the game as Renekton, as Nidalee, as Akali. But, you know, they're just playing the team fights. They're playing the rotations so beautifully. You know, towards that and the last part of the game, Nidalee was literally doing 60% of Kai'Sa's health with just one spear. And you can see the damage graph. Nidalee just doing so much damage. I mean, everyone on PSG just doing so much damage. Akali only 5.1k damage, but don't underestimate that, because Akali does not get to fight Azir in lane. So a lot of that damage is all team fighting damage.
Yeah, it's all the damage that are on the targets when it matters. It's all building up to lethal damage. And yes, she wasn't able to find the lethal last hit. A lot of her perfect executions did not take down any of the members of Beyond Gaming, but what they did was they threatened it. They forced Beyond Gaming to cower away to protect the carries, and that allowed the likes of Unify, that allowed the likes of Hanabi and River to be doing damage in loads. And that's exactly why you see the gold graph swing that way. And just looking at that goal difference after the last team fight, like, it relatively looked even, but then you can see PSG, they seep at the gold lead. It goes down so steadily until the ace.
Yeah, I mean, Beyond Gaming, you know, they're still playing their team comp. I think they managed to stabilize the game pretty well, and that was great. And here we have MVP going to River. You know, again, put this man on aggressive junglers, because this man is just that good in early game. 27% of his team's damage, and how often do you see that in competitive? You know, right now a lot of junglers are just averaging, you know, 15 to 17% damage shared with his team. This man doing almost 30%.
Yeah, those spears were just piercing through the hearts of Beyond Gaming. Just the pack was the punch that was packed just felt so just lethal. Like the Night Harvester, just as soon as the item spike was hit, finding Maowan in that tri-brush in the top side, getting that pick, just using that gold to just drag the game out was so good. And congratulations to PSG on game 2. They're now 2-0 up in the series, but it is not over. There is still 3 games left potentially, and BYG can be able to bring this one back. So please don't go anywhere for game 3 when we return.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。
We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
He's hit passive with the pillar once again. It's a triple kill for Lil B.
Welcome back for Game 3 of the Winners Finals of the PCS Spring Playoffs. It is Beyond Gaming versus PSG. PSG need one more win to close it out, and Beyond Gaming need to rally back strong for 3 consecutive games, the reverse sweep dream to avoid being swept themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Beyond Gaming is basically backs against the wall right now, right? If they have anything they need to throw, they have to throw them out now. Obviously, they after losing this series, if they do lose, there's still the losers bracket, but you don't really want to do that because then you would be playing up to 3 games consecutively. You've got tomorrow's game in losers bracket, and then you have the grand finals. And for PSG, they've been just doing everything correctly. Game 1 was a little shaky, and then by the end of the game, so that they just found their footing. They know how to play against Beyond Gaming, and then come game 2, they just go in with a super comfortable, super strong draft, and they just close out the game, and there's not much Beyond Gaming can do.
Game 2 felt like pure confidence from PSG. They drafted such a confident draft. Like, you had the Renekton, you had the Nidalee, you had the Akali, champions that require a proactive early game to enable and get leads through, and to extend those leads to close out the game before 30-35 minutes, and they did just that. And as a result, Beyond Gaming are now forced to try and shake things up, and they have decided to go red side this time. So do they have a potential counter pick prepared for PSG? And are they saving it for Maowan or Liang?
Yep, and we are now going into the drafting phase of the game. We're seeing both PSG Beyond Gaming actually flipping sides once again. So Beyond Gaming finally broke the trend of 100% win rate on the blue side. So therefore this time they will try something else and go on to red side. Now, in terms of bans, PSG going with that stock standard, Jinx, Renekton, probably Tahm Kench, and Beyond Gaming banning away Seraphine and Maples and Silas. Third ban, most likely Thresh. I mean, that has been the trend so far for red side for both teams. But I can definitely still see Tristana, or maybe just something, even Senna being banned from Beyond Gaming. I mean, Senna seems like a champion that they just don't want to play against.
Yeah, with the Tahm Kench being banned out, the number 1 go-to fasting Senna pal is the TK. Ooh. So Beyond Gaming will feel as though Maples Akali is something they do not want to see again. Potentially for the rest of the series. And PSG,
wow,
the Lucian hover, the Yuumi BM hover following the Lucian hover.
It is going to
It will be the Thresh who has been banned out every single game until this point, and PSG instantly lock it when that's left on the table.
Yeah, I mean, for once, the Thresh is let out. This is one of those champions that it kind of just slowly crept up to the top of the table. And it went from being completely uncontested to being picked here and there, and now you're basically seeing Thresh banned every single game. This time it is going to be left open from Beyond Gaming because Beyond Gaming wants to deny all the Maple picks. All the picks that has been just doing so well for PSG. Both the Silas, the Akali, it wasn't like stand-up performance in terms of damage, but the fact that Maple is piloting it so well posed so much threat to Beyond Gaming. PSG will round out the bot lane with this classic bot lane hyper carry duo in that Thresh plus Aphelios. Thresh giving Aphelios the mobility through Dark Passage and also a lot of engage potential with the Death Sentence. Beyond Gaming just going with stock standard once again, basically just full meta champions.
I mean, when your back's against the wall, you either have 2 options. Go comfort and try and just win somehow, or try and mix things up. And Beyond Gaming so far have not done that. But the set hover, this could be a set support potentially. He's able to be flexed into 3 roles. Lots of different champions being hovered around. We're back onto the set. I mean,
No
I
way.
think these are
No
just some
way.
BM hovers. Always
And
whenever
the
you see a
set is an
But
interesting
no.
one. It is going to be the set. Most likely support. I'm not too sure whether this set, it can go top lane, but not a strong champion so far in both top and mid lane. In mid lane, you get bullied out by control mages quite often, and in top lane, it's just not really a strong champion so far. However, even in bot lane, in support right now, I don't really know how set goes into Thresh. I kind of feel like Thresh will be able to keep this set away for most part. The Flay outrageous set, and if set doesn't have the flash, it's just so hard for set to actually get onto Aphelios.
I mean, Thresh provides everything Aphelios would ever want. He gives you the setup with the hook, he gives you safety with the lantern, and the Flay as well to protect you. Like, it enables Aphelios to play so aggressively a champion with no escape, no gap closer, no dash, and allows him to just be free to run all 200 years on the Rift. And as we go towards... Oh, go on.
Beyond Gaming banning away Ornn and Nah. So it kind of tells me that they might just want this set to be top lane. Ornn removes the scale, it removes the further scaling potential that Aphelios have, and Nah is just one of those champions that's pretty decent into set. The Mega Nah does outdamage set and stops set from doing what he wants to with the overloaded CC, and I'm just not too sure because banning those two champions tells me that they want to put this set into top lane, but they're hovering Shogun, so it's a little bit weird. On PSG side, they're banning away Orianna, which is again something that I kind of feel like Maple wants to pick, but no, it is going to be the double flex mid and top Nocturne coming in from Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, Nocturne definitely could go mid or top lane. Potential for set until we really know. He could go support mid or top, most likely support like you mentioned. But PSG now, they still have a mid laner and a top laner to pick up for themselves. And Maple looks like he's going back to his tried and tested Azir, a champion he's looked incredible on, making play after play. Very rarely do you ever see him use an Emperor's Divide defensively. It's always with the Shurima shuffles, diving into the backline, knocking 3 members of the enemy team back into your team. So I'm super excited to see where he can make that play and set up for the Aphelios.
Yeah, and PSG actually doing what Beyond Gaming is doing last game, right? They're basically pulling. Oh my god, it is a Shen top lane. Wow, and. So PSG is basically pulling a Beyond Gaming. They're just like, hey guys, we've tried playing aggressive comp, we beat you with it. We tried playing I don't know, kind of like a mixed identity comp in game 1. We lost early game, but we still came back. Let's just do what you guys are best at. We will play this heavy front to back comp, try and beat us with it. Shen is a bit of an interesting pick because it sort of like counters Nocturne but also gets countered by Nocturne because all of that comes down to whether he is able to cast the Stand United before Liang casts Paranoia.
Yeah, with Shen's ultimate, if you're unable to see teammates, you cannot cast your ultimate onto them to give you the ability to roam down and potentially save their lives. So if Liang is able to use Paranoia preemptively and prevent Hanabi from joining with the rest of his team, definitely can be an answer. But Shen is a champion for a tank similar to Ornn, who has a lot of lane dominance. The only thing he really lacks is a wave clear in his kit before he gets something like the Sunfire Aegis or a Tiamat. If he wants to go like the solo Q Titanic Hydra kind of build, I highly doubt we'll see it. It'll most likely be the Sunfire Aegis rush, especially into Nocturne. But Shen is super exciting. He promotes such great team play, and when you have River and Kaiwing who make plays around the map so well together, it just adds a third member to always be present.
Yeah, and on Beyond Gaming side, they are going with a very unconventional roster. You've got the Nocturne Hecarim. That's basically what PSG kind of did in game 1, right? They just want to fly towards the backline. But then you also have this Victor in the mid lane. Victor, most likely this game is going to get left alone because you have the Nocturne, you have Hecarim, you have you have the Kaiser and you have Set. They all want to jump to the back line, and Victor is going to be the sole backline of Beyond Gaming, and this is going to induce some like interesting team fighting, because now all of a sudden, where does Maple want to Emperor's Divide? Do you want to Emperor's Divide forward, or do you want to Emperor's Divide backwards?
Yeah, as we go into Summoner's Rift for Game 3, potentially the final game of the series, if Beyond Gaming aren't able to rally the comeback. As we go in, as you were mentioning, Maple, lots of different ways he can try to just expose this Victor in these team fights, trying to just make the sitting duck almost of Beyond Gaming, because you have the Kaiser who's diving to follow alongside the Paranoia and the Onslaught of Shadows of the Hecarim, like you mentioned, and Set just wants to get in there and he wants to dunk some boys, and like that leaves Victor on his own, like you were mentioning, and I think that could be where Beyond Gaming run into some troubles, like you mentioned. Going down the rune choices, nothing too crazy. Actually, completely standard from both sides. I mean, Guardian over Aftershock potentially.
Yeah, I mean, no, but like Nocturne does have Conqueror over Lethal Tempo. It is, yeah, I mean, it's something that you don't really see on Nocturne as much as the Lethal Tempo build, but it's still pretty effective. However, it kind of makes me wonder how that changes the lane, because Lethal Tempo does and can get blocked out by Shen's W. However, it's still a higher DPS build, and with Conqueror, you kind of also want to look at long trades, but you also want to look for like longer trades compared to Lethal Tempo, and maybe, just maybe, that can deny the damage reduction or like damage denial from Shen in like short-term trades. Beyond Gaming for,
as we see the flash forward from Kino trying to make stuff happen, but it feels as though he's popped the cleanse, he's popped the ignite, so that's one summoner traded for 2. That's actually a bonus for Set, as he does have the Hex Flash, so it will be 1 for 2 and more like 2 for a half.
Yeah, I mean, that's the strength of Set support, right? You basically just unexpectedly flash onto someone, and then you basically just force some of the spells. He's going to do it again.
Beautiful Hex Flash into the Facebreaker. Will not connect, Kaiwing will not drop. 1 plasma stack was needed to proc the passive, and Kaiser wasn't able to do so. As a result, however, we do see the flash being flown from Kaiwing, so that now is 3 summoner spells blown in this PSG bot side, and appropriately, River is here to shadow. He has the feeling that potentially it could be Hecarim, but he's the one ganking himself. Kino once again Hex flashing in, but River's trying to kind of court the Hecarim here. A tag so low, the burn will not be enough. However, that will be first blood, and it will be Unified grabbing the second, and a 3-for-1 for PSG. The game is completely blown open, and the double kill for the Udia. He will be a fast man very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, this is disastrous for Beyond Gaming, because, you saw River going in. The fact that Husha is there shadowing means that they knew River is going to come in. But at this stage of the game, a Hecarim is not going to beat an Udia. You also have health disadvantage in your bot lane, and the fact that Kino and Doggo just not committing to that stun on Kaiwing is just puzzling. Doggo 100% should have just kept pressing forward, aimed to trade 2 for 2 in the bot lane, but that was not the case. It is going to be a 3-for-1 in favor of PSG, and all of a sudden this Aphelios is 1-0-1 and a 2-0-1 Udia. Actually, 2-0-1 Udia.
Yeah, that is a rich bear, man, on the Rift, and Aphelios, a champion that we associate just late game hyper carry with. Getting him accelerated, giving him the safety of the Berserker Greaves, the tier 2 boots, the extra movement speed to potentially get away from the Set. Yes, Set does have Phase Rush, so gap closing is difficult, but hey, that was spotted out. Kaiwing with the predictor, the Hex Flash, beautiful stuff. The Flay will knock away the Set, and that's a 1 trade by PSG, immediately showing that now they have the onus in this lane.
Yeah, and just look at the damage that Philios is able to put out because he now has this Berserker's Greaves. He does have the move speed advantage, so he's able to stick to Kino and Doggo. So if Kino messes up an engage or gets hooked by Kaiwing, he's just going to get hunted down. So this is very, very one-sided for PSG at this current stage in the bot lane. And if you look at other sides of the lane, right, in the top lane we have Liang actually shoving in Hanabi. However, he does not have a CS lead. Hanabi is withering the storm very well, and to be honest, like right now, Beyond Gaming, they need to find something as soon as the champions tick level 6. Oh.
Hana did be doing a great job of finding Liang, resetting, gets the enhanced auto attack from his Q, brings the sword to him, but Maple going with the offensive Emperor's Divide. Maowan just burst down. Another kill going over the river. Maple doing it once again on the Azir, always the offensive ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, this is once again just misplays from Beyond Gaming. Maowan didn't really respect the fact that the fact that Maple is able to do extremely long-range engage. I think the wave was pushing back to him anyway, and all he had to do is just play safe for like 10 seconds, and everything would be fine. However, that was not the case. Flash is going to get burned, but Maowan will still die. He takes 6 right now, however, it is just all too late. So right now, PSG sitting very comfortably at an almost 2k lead, actually a more than 2k gold lead, and is 4-1 with 1 dragon down. So, really big advantage for PSG.
On the bright side for Beyond Gaming, majority of that is on Udyr. But on the contrary, majority of that is on Udyr. So he will be fast and he will be running at you. So like it's trading off the late game where Udyr becomes a flash stun bot. But for now, where Beyond Game will struggle, like, you have this pressure of an Udyr being everywhere, and he's just trying to make stuff happen. He's started to potentially shadow the Shen, trying to potentially find a catch onto Liang, but Liang is out of the lane, and he could be walking into a bear, man. And it will be the stun from the bear clap. Hanabi isn't quite in range just yet to taunt, but look at him go, auto attack after auto attack, forcing the fear, but the only person scared is this Nocturne, and River continues to go in. This is such an aggressive chase, and watching an Udyr just do that to a Nocturne is so sad for the top laner.
Yeah, I mean, this is just textbook River gameplay. Like, anyone in PSG that's playing against anyone in PCS that's playing... Oh, never mind. Hang on a second.
Would potentially be enough. It will not be.
No. Yeah, I mean, just a bit of perk damage trying to dissuade Doggo from approaching this wave, but, back to what I was saying, any team that is preparing against PSG in the PCS will know that, this is River's playstyle. If you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. He is going to be everywhere on the map, and he will hunt you down, even if you fall back to your jungle. So, this is basically just River dominance from PSG.
Like, the pressure of an Udyr being anywhere within the map currently is just making Beyond Gaming's life just miserable. He's already gotten the Infernal Dragon basically on spawn. He has now gotten Shelly basically on spawn. So he's so proactive on this pick. This Udyr pick, it needs you to be active. It needs you to be finding these early game advantages, and River is a jungler that loves to do that. This is such a River champion, this Udyr.
Yeah, and what's worse is that PSG have the late game team comp, in my opinion. Beyond Gaming's mid game is pretty good. The late game is nothing to scoff at, but PSG, they have the premier AD carry and the mid laner in that Aphelios and Azir. And these two champions just does so much damage. They are capable to just wipe out the entire team come late game.
Yeah, as we see River does a bully Husha once again.
No.
Peace up, I'm out of here. Smites that one away. The level down, Husha never had a chance of grabbing the Rift Scuttler, and like you were mentioning, with so many Thresh bans on the currently, I feel as though the Thresh is actually more just getting banned out for Aphelios, because you're essentially banning out 2 champions at once. Because very rarely do you see an Aphelios without a Thresh.
Yeah, I mean, like you can pair it with Tahm Kench, but Tahm Kench was also banned this game from I believe PSG. So banning away the Thresh definitely does mean banning multiple champions at the same time. So I mean that could be the case, but Kaiwing showing the fact that, okay, you leave up this Thresh, I'm just going to make your life miserable, because he is actually just doing really insane things on this Thresh in lane. And Husha, being spotted out by Kaiwing there, forced to drop a control ward in his own side of the map, and everything just going to PSG's favor so far.
Yeah, once again, River is around this bot side. He is on a control ward. He is aware Beyond Gaming don't spot him, and he will be running forwards. He doesn't quite have the Turbo Chem Tank just yet, so it will just be the Shelly dropped, and time again, who is it getting the turret plates? It is Unified, getting this gold funneled into an Aphelios this time. The ultimate will go wide. It is mostly just for some poke, and it will be first turret cracked open already for Unified. And we see the Dark Passage has been used. Emperor's Divide will go wide thanks to the Onslaught of Shadows, but TPs are coming out. And that is quite a close TP. It does channel before the Nocturnal, crucially, and we do see Doggo does dive into the backline, but he's kind of left alone. He isn't able to take down Kaiwing, and as a result, it will be River grabbing the kill. Liang pushing forwards, and he will be able to take down Unified. Now Maple is left all on his own. Kaiwing cannot step up, and it will be Beyond Gaming winning quite big, but River and Hanabi are here, and the Udyr is angry. Shen able to just zone out the rest of the members of Beyond Gaming, allowing River to grab that one for himself, and it will be an even fight, 2-for-2.
Yeah, and I'd say it's a little Beyond Gaming favored. I think they fumbled a little bit. Lian did pop that Paranoia, but also has to walk away from the Shen, so that he doesn't get cancelled. So, when he drops, when the TP connects, his Paranoia expired, so he can't really do anything. And I think that was like the biggest mistake from Beyond Gaming, because otherwise they probably would have won this fight a lot more handedly. Husha, really nice buffer there. To avoid Emperor's Divide, and Beyond Gaming, it was looking very shaky there, but Kino with this massive engage, two-man stun onto Unified and Maple actually just seals the deal for this team fight, despite, in the backline, the Udyr and the Shen is basically unkillable, but they were nowhere to be seen, and the carries are just unprotected. So Beyond Gaming actually pulling up a pretty decent fight here, and it was even 2v2 kill, but I'd say it's still their favor.
Yeah, especially with the early game going the way it did. An even fight's a one fight if your name's Beyond Gaming. Being able to try and get back into this one, but as we see River essentially on spawn once again, taking down this Ocean Dragon. And I would not be surprised at 17 minutes we do see a bear around that pit once again. And it will be a Cloud Dragon on the Rift for this one, so Cloud Soul potentially up for PSG in 10 minutes time if they're able to stack the Drakes off rotation, off cooldown like they have already. And if your name is Beyond Gaming, seeing an Udyr with Cloud Dragon who is 5-0 running at you, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, does Udyr just get to consistently proc Cloud Dragon upon using Phoenix Stance?
I believe so.
That sounds broken, actually. Because I was gonna say, so far, it doesn't seem like a lot of those champions benefit that much from Cloud Soul. Paranoia and Onslaught of Shadows. These ultimates don't really rely on move speed. Move speed is good on Hecarim, but that's just like a little bit of bonus damage, and everything else doesn't really scales well or works well with move speed. But if River is able to just hunt you down with that Cloud Soul move speed on that Phoenix stance, that's actually massive.
It doesn't just proc off Phoenix stance, it procs off every stance.
Oh really?
Yes.
Wow.
This is the Udyr Dragon. That is incredible, actually. That's nuts.
Oh, that's is that a bug? Oh, anyway.
No. As we do see the lights are turned off, they could have a catch here. It will be River going down. The man of the hour will be taken down. Shut down Gold going over the side of Beyond Gaming, and they are starting to get some coin in their pocket. And they're starting to mount a resistance, but it is still PSG with the better scaling composition. So Beyond Gaming need to get more. Kaiwing is here trying to potentially find a catch, find something, but the rest of his team is not, so he will be bullied out. Unable to buy any time, but it is Shen in a side lane to split pushing, doing the Shen thing. You have two teleports essentially. You have to stand united. You have the TP as well, so he's just being a nuisance. But Beyond Gaming will be able to grab the second Rift Herald of the game. It will not be able to grab any turret plates, but it will be effective at taking down turrets, potentially grabbing their first of the game.
Yeah, I mean, River just getting a little bit too aggressive there. Probably just, relying on the fact that Hanabi have that stand united on the Shen. However, that is what we're talking about, when we came into this game. The fact that, Shen technically counters Nocturne, but also Nocturne does also counter the Shen, because if Hanabi wasn't able to cast Stand United in time, then he loses his chance to do so until Paranoia's blind is gone. So I think that was basically the case, and it costed River's life.
Yeah, great stuff from Beyond Gaming, using the ultimate counter of the Paranoia really effectively once again to make these fights Beyond Gaming favored. But Maple, Shurima Shuffle over the wall, but he's in a Chaos Storm, but it will be Stand United, making sure he does live through this one, and Hanabi is able to pick that one up with the taunt, and it will be PSD trying to break open this mid turret.
Yeah, I mean, really nicely done there from Maple, because Marwan's flash is actually just seconds away from coming back up. So, this must be a calculated play. The fact that, Maple cast a flash to get close to Marwan so that, when Stand United lands, Shen can taunt and just finish off the victor. This is just beautifully played from the mid and top lane of PSG. And now PSG break open a mid lane turret, and they have the entire bot side of the map to play around.
PSG have so much room to work with now, and they will go ahead and reset before this Cloud Dragon spawns in the next minute. They want to make sure they have the gold spent, they have the items and inventory. When you have a 4,000k gold lead, it's crucial that you use it and you're able to turn it into items. We will be seeing Shelly dropped into the mid lane turret. Maple will channel his teleport to make sure he can defend against this, and Beyond Gaming trying to get the inside track for the Dragons, because if they give up this one, it will be Soul Point in 5 minutes time. And PSG have started taking down the Vision, trying to make that area of the map dark, and Sundisk turret will be dropped by Maple to really make it difficult. Oh my goodness, you are a crazy man. The Emperor's Divide into the Flay, dunked. He's dunked away the Thresh to try and buy time, but he's taken down by Hanabi, who just dove too far down. He's taken down by Hanabi once again, and you just see members of Beyond Gaming, these desperation attempts to try and recover these plays that Maple's setting up are just not working, and Hanabi's on the flank once again with this Shen. He's trying to find the spot, trying to find where he can come in, but it will be PSG just shoving the turret in, and it will be third dragon of the game for them. Soul Point coming off in 5 minutes time.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a 23-minute win soul, and this is just massive for PSG, because this means the 23-minute soul dragon means that it is going to be a 28-minute Elder. I think that is the one point where PSG's like, by the time we hit 28 minutes, this is the end of the game for you, Beyond Gaming, no matter how long you can stall it. And that's just insane, because now Beyond Gaming is on such a strict timer. They have to gather as much gold as possible. They had to make something happen between 18 and 23 minutes. If that doesn't happen, then PSG is just going to roll them as soon as they hit that 3-item spike, as soon as they get Soul Point, as soon as they get Baron.
Yeah, the 6k gold lead needs to close up. And if your name is Beyond Gaming, you're thinking, how do we force a fight? How do we find a pick? And that needs to happen off of Liang with this Paranoia combo, that with Husha, you need to turn the lights out and potentially catch some of the members of PSG. You see 150 gold sitting on the head of Hanabi, but Marwan once again is caught. River has his number. Kai Wing is here as well. Death Sentence will go wide, but that doesn't really matter. River just tanking it up with the Stand United. That is the most disrespectful use of that ultimate I think I have seen, and PSG charge away with Marwan dropping.
Yeah, I mean, this is just so sad for Beyond Gaming, because River is literally just casually roaming through jungle. He's trying to look for people, and he found a Marwan, and Marwan just did not stand a chance. He get hard chunked by the Udyr on his way retreating to the turret, and then and then River, with the stand united with the turtle stands, is just able to tank I think 5 or 6 turret shots, and Mawan basically just accepted death, doesn't use flash, and basically just stand and just die. So PSG, firmly in control of this game, looking to close this out. It is 20 minutes. It could be a very early Baron.
And they have turned towards this objective straight away. It will, but hang on, it could be a little bit of a bait. They are channeling recalls, however. I guess they want to spend the gold trying to bait Beyond Gaming into thinking that they could be going for it, but it was kind of spotted out with the blue trinket being dropped. It is cleared away, and just playing with this vision, putting the doubt into Beyond Gaming's mind. You have a 7,000 gold lead, and you're trying to 6,000k gold lead, and you're trying to make Beyond Gaming misstep, because as we've seen time and time again this series, PSG, they need one entrance. They need one door to be opened, and it's game over. Series over. This is game 3. They are up 2-0. One crucial mistake for Beyond Gaming means the end of their upper bracket berth, and they will be facing Machi X tomorrow.
Yeah, and right now, Beyond Gaming, they just forced to play the opposite side of PSG. When PSG is setting a Baron vision, they had to play around, but now PSG decides to set up a siege in the bot lane, and Beyond Gaming is relegated to the top side, but they don't even have the tools to start Baron. This Kai'Sa is just so far behind, does not have Kraken Slayer, so you really just don't have the tools to kill a Baron. And PSG, they're just walking up and down the map, and Beyond Gaming is just trying to match them.
Yeah, it's just like they're always on the back foot this game. It's been so rough. River did such a great job of grabbing the early game lead for PSG, and since then it's always been Beyond Gaming just half a step late, always late to the play. Set has found a little bit of a flank. Trying to potentially make something happen is Kino, but I don't think he will be able to. I feel as though if he does find an Udyr, he will not be happy. Kaiwing suspecting it a little bit. The sweepers is used. He definitely is suspected as Death Sentence is used, and will go wide. Turbo Chem Tank popped. That is a fast bear. Kino is chunked to a little bit, but Paranoia is used. The teleport will be channeled. This will be a Nocturne meeting them in the mid lane, but once again, Paranoia expires before the teleport finishes channeling, and Liang is unable to do anything off the back of it. And knowing this, PSG know the crucial teamfight ultimate for Beyond Gaming has been burned, and they will turn to the Baron.
Yeah, it was a weird Paranoia, because even if Paranoia connects, right, there's no opening for Beyond Gaming to actually engage there. And PSG, they're just going to get this Baron unless Puja pulls something off insane. Actually, no,
as the
4-man
dunk comes in, the massive 4-man ultimate, but the wallet is too large. However, double kill coming through. Make that potentially a triple kill. Hanabi gets away with his life, and Beyond Gaming, they find the miracle engage. Kino just has been absent the whole series. He finds the crucial engage, the 4-man dunk, and now PSG, they really can't start up this Baron. Yes, they have their 2 damage dealers, but they don't have River, they do not have Smite, they cannot go to this objective, and now with the Cloud Dragon spawning, Liang will be able to potentially take this one out. He will deny Soul Point from going over.
Yeah, things look so good from Beyond Gaming. Look at Kino with that engage, the 4-man stun into a 3-man unstoppable onslaught. That was actually massive from Beyond Gaming. However, that was just not enough to wipe PSG. They get 2 people, and then they drop 1. Actually, they didn't even drop 1, but it is actually a very good attempt from Beyond Gaming, and I just love it from them, because it shows that they still have a punch. PSG can't just randomly start Baron and expect that Beyond Gaming is just going to let them take it. So Beyond Gaming successfully denies the win soul from PSG and extending this game for an extra 5 minutes at least. So really well done from Kino.
Kino using the full potential of the Facebreaker with a 4-man stun, because with the Facebreaker, if you do have members on either side of it and pull them together, they will stun, they will not knock up. So really well done by him. And as we see, PSG, even though Beyond Gaming win the fight, they are still almost 5.5 gold over Beyond Gaming. This Aphelios is at 2.5 items, not quite at his third just yet, building towards that Guardian Angel. And the vision's out. The pings are coming through from Beyond Gaming. They are suspecting that this is happening. They will drop the blue trinket, so they do have confirmation. But PSG have them zoned out. Kaiwing will use the lane and try and potentially make Unified pop off, but it will be PSG once again backing off, not willing to commit to the Nasher, trying to play it safely. This is the safest it's been for for PSG. It feels as though this is the largest gold lead they've had all series, yet they're just a little bit hesitant to just pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, Beyond Gaming showing that, they can win team fights, and that's why PSG is being a little hesitant. And you look at that death ray from Maoan, it literally almost did 50% of Unified's health bar. So, it is something not to be scoffed at. This Victor have Ludens, have Void Staff. It is a Victor that can delete carries if he gets into range. So PSG playing this safely and methodically. They are we're probably going to see them rinse and repeat Dragon a few more times this game until the Wind Dragon spawns, and then we might be able to see a massive fight breaking open.
Yeah, in 2 minutes and 30 seconds time, it will be PSG versus Beyond Gaming on this Cloud Soul. Because if you give Cloud Soul over to the members of PSG, you have the Shen, who will have so much movement speed after he uses Stand United to find the taunt. Especially with Flash, that's such a large engage range, which just sets up the rest of your team to make the fight happen. So Beyond Gaming cannot afford to give this neutral objective over. And with the Baron up as well, PSG could potentially trade neutral for neutral and go positive as well, because Beyond Gaming, a second Cloud Soul really doesn't do anything for them, and PSG could close that way. There's so many options for PSG to try and find this one. And Kino is on a very, very deep flank. He is so deep in this team, but he will not be able to find anything as a result.
Yeah, I mean, Kino, he's basically in a position where it's very unlikely that PSG is going to be there, but you always have to take that gamble. Maybe someone is greedy enough to be there, but no, PSG actually, like I said before, they are just going to rinse and repeat Baron over and over again, and this time Beyond Gaming a little too far.
Yeah, Beyond Gaming are so far away, they actually reset, and now with the lights turned off, PSG are actually forced to go off this. They respect Beyond Gaming, but this feels as though it was just a bait to get away the Nocturne ultimate, and beautiful stuff once again. Fuchsia buffering the Onslaught of Shadows to get away from the Emperor's Divide, going unstoppable, but that is two crucial teamfight ultimates that have been blown for Beyond Gaming. Kino has found himself a bit of a flank. Potentially, could he make magic happen once again? He is here, he is flayed away, will land the dunk on one member. That member is the tankiest member, but he does get shut down onto Maple, and now this is looking good for Beyond Gaming. However, Unified is unhit just yet. He's making magic happen. 200 years of League of Legends for Unified. He will get the double kill, and PSG will win the fight, and they will start on Baron.
Oh my god, this is actually just Unified being insane. This is the classic Unified. This man on that Infernum just melted the entire Beyond Gaming. And once again, everything looks so good for Beyond Gaming in the initial team fight, but they have two carries. Maple died without using the flash. I think Emperor's Divide was on cooldown. Yes, it was, because he used it to force the Onslaught of Shadows. But Maple was down, but guys, PSG have two carries, and let's just watch this once again. It was a beautiful fight once again from Kino. He was a little hesitant when he goes in, trying to find that angle. Kaiwing just denying him very easily, very professionally. But look at Unified. Unified with that Infernum does so much damage in an AoE. It's just insane. Look at that. And also that stopwatch basically just stopping Beyond Gaming. I mean, the TLDR of this entire series is just Beyond Gaming versus stopwatches. Like, stopwatch literally destroyed Beyond Gaming all 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't Maples, it sure was Unified as he built towards the Guardian's Angel. And on the back of that replay in the bottom left hand of your screen, you probably noticed PSG now have Cloud Soul, and it will be an Elder Dragon spawning in 5 minutes. And that is the big timer for Beyond Gaming, because you can potentially dissuade a Baron push. You can potentially dissuade a Cloud Dragon soul from ending the game. But when Elder Dragon is taken for a team, it is basically game over. Unless you trade ace for ace or something crazy like that. But with a almost 8,000k gold deficit, Elder Dragon feels like it's game over if it isn't already for PSG. And as we see them, they've started sieging. They have 4 members in the bot side. Shen in the mid lane. Stan United is available, so he can join them whenever he pleases. And we just see methodical stuff from PSG. They have the gold lead. They know they just need the siege minion to slowly toil away at these turrets. And Hanabi has escorted the mid lane as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, all PSG need is one mistake, and Beyond Gaming made it. The late reset, they gave PSG the Baron after losing a team fight, and now PSG is just capitalizing on the tempo they have. They're trying to siege 2 lanes at once. They're just pushing people away. Beyond Gaming have no tools to defend their base, and this is insane because PSG, with this team combat, they have so much zone control. Beyond Gaming, if their base is completely broken, they can't retaliate.
Yeah, like, what do you do if your name is Beyond Gaming? You're just watching PSG just take your inhibitors. Like, how do you operate? Like, this second inhibitor in the bot side will be taken as well. River is so fast. How do you catch him? Especially with Unified there. Like, it's so rough because it was starting to look like Beyond Gaming, they were finding the fights. They were finding the picks. They had the answer to the puzzle of the game, but that one fight, just Unified kiting it so well, dispelled disaster, and this game has just been blown out to almost 10,000 gold.
Yeah, and now that PSG have both mid lane and bot lane inhibitor down, all they have to do is just grip top lane, and if they siege the 3rd inhibitor, I mean, this basically spells game end for Beyond Gaming because their comp, they need to have space in their team comp, and space is something that you get less and less the less objective you have on your side.
Yeah, as River just bullying out Kino completely. 5 levels up over the enemy support.
Yeah, that's insane. Has
to grab the help of Husha, who will give the thumbs up emote, knowing that he's done a good service. Liang also, lots of thumbs up, lots of acknowledgement coming through from the members of Beyond Gaming. Very nice to see. Good manners, good manners. No BM emotes. We only like thumbs up emotes. It's very, very kind. As we do see, teleports are committed. Hanabi will be here, joining the rest of his team to continue the siege. The Baron buff has phased off, but PSG continue to go in. Potentially, this is the fight PSG need to find. They need to find a pick, but Maple is doing so much damage, just poking Liang down. We do know that the paranoia is available for Liang. Does he have the ultimate? Can he find a way to turn this one around? Onslaught of Shadows as well. Crucial ultimates Beyond Gaming have access to. Can they potentially find it, or will they just flop and just let PSG take their base from under them? We do see the beautiful dunk. The paranoia is used as well. The members of Beyond Gaming are solo Unified. He is just living. He does go with the Guardian Angel that is popped, but this is the end. This is the quadra kill. This is 5 members going down. Ace for PSG. They will take the base. They will take the Nexus, and that is the series over for PSG. 3-0 over Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, and this is just a clean game from PSG in game 2 and 3. And PSG, I mean, it's just such a threatening team, right? It's just such an insane team. Like, how do you punish them, right? Game 1, they fell behind, and all it takes is one mistake for them to go from behind to closing out the game in like a matter of minutes. And then in game 2, they're playing an early, confident, aggressive team comp. They just completely wiped Beyond Gaming, and game 3 they literally pulled Beyond Gaming's team comp and they just destroyed Beyond Gaming with it. What do you do? What do you even play against this team? How do you deal with this team? And this is the question for whoever beats MachiX and whoever wins between MachiX and Beyond Gaming tomorrow.
It feels like it was the same story this series as J-Team series for PSG. It just felt like they had 3 games and they played 3 different ways, almost flexing, showing that we can play so many different ways. How do you ban out us? Because are you going to ban out the metas? We'll just play the meta champions. Are you going to ban out Maple's assassins? He'll just play the meta champion. It's like so difficult. And Beyond Gaming did not have the answer this series. They have, and now they must face MachiX. And if they are able to triumph over Machi, what will they do with the 2-day turnaround to just bring it back, run it back? Because it looked so convincing when PSG had the lead and had that spark.
Yeah, and I think the question for Beyond Gaming now isn't even PSG now. How do they get back into form against MachiX? Because I feel like this series is showed that Husha Mawan struggles against River and Maple. And this is a huge hint for MachiX going into tomorrow's game. MachiX is just one of this team that plays heavily towards mid-jungle. You've got Gemini and Jimian, one of the highest damage jungler in the league and also a carry player in the mid lane. How will Beyond Gaming try to defend off MachiX and get back into a rematch versus PSG Talon?
Yeah, it's just so rough for Beyond Gaming because game 1 looked so good. It was a true knife's edge until it wasn't and the series was over. The game was over. And then game 2 was just getting steamrolled by an early game comp and just having River run all over you across the map. And then we come to game 3 and it was just like, it was the unified special. It was funneling the resources in and having him carry. And you had that alongside Maple making crazy Shurima shuffles and just huge Emperor's Divides. And you look at the damage, there's no surprise. There's 2 members of PSG you expect to be at the top of the damage charts, and they are. That is Maple, and that is Unified, and it was just so rough. Like, it's just a slow, gradual goal lead once again for PSG. Yeah. But you see that spike. That is that fight that they won. That is that ace. That is that wipe, and that just enabled them to close the game out.
Yeah, and look at that, just how insane is Unified, because when you compare Aphelios and Azir, Azir have that range. Aphelios can't walk up to Victor. Victor is the core of Beyond Gaming in this game. He's doing so much damage, and Unified just cannot approach Victor. However, he still dealt more damage than Maple. This is how insane this man is on a hyper carry. Unified is your player to watch for PSG.
Oh, 100%. And he will be your MVP as well. 4-1-9 on this Aphelios. His use of... He always had the right guns at the right time. And he was using them so effectively. To play Aphelios, to pilot the champion, you have to have such an in-depth knowledge because there's so much to him. And it feels as though Unified really knows how to get the most out of the kit. So, great job to Unified. He does have 65% kill participation. And, congratulations to PSG because... they continue their undefeated streak, 6-0 in these playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that's
who's going to stop them?
Yeah, I mean, like right now we won't know, right? Until grand final, whoever goes up against PSG is going to get asked this question, whether you can topple PSG or not. But right now, PSG is looking very undefeatable.
Yeah, and as we go away with the 3-0 for PSG, we will have a short break, but after the break, there will be an interview with a member of PSG, so please don't go anywhere.
大家好，我是英文台的主播 Rira。这次的赛后采访呢，很高兴欢迎 PSG 的辅助 Kai Wing。Hey guys, I'm Rira and I'm here today with PSG support Kai Wing for our post-match winner interview. Kai Wing, 你好。
Hello， 大家好，我是 PSG 的辅助凯文。
那首先当然要恭喜你们获得今天3-0的胜利哦，可以就首先跟我们说一下你现在的感受吗？有预测到会3-0吗？
感觉今天是靠了那个幸运女神去照顾我们啊，所以我们比较幸运的拿下3-0的。
So, of course, congratulations on taking today's match, 3-0 victory. Did you guys expect that you were going to be able to take it 3-0 so easily? And Kevin said, I think that we were just lucky today. I just have to thank the lucky gods up there for blessing us and like for just being on our side for today. Also, could you tell us about the series, because I think in those 3 games, definitely game 1 was probably the closest game for you guys, whereas game 2 and game 3 were kind of a bit faster in terms of pace. So could you just tell us what sort of adjustments you guys made throughout the series in terms of how you're able to do better in game 2 and game 3? 那接下来问题想问的就是，毕竟今天3-0嘛，然后应该今天经济最接近的，应该是第一把。是第一把，然后想问的就是第2把、第3把，你们团队是做了什么样的调整呢？
因为我们就纠正我们第一把的问题，然后从第2把开始，我们就把我们自己平常做的最好的状态就是发挥出来，就是稳打稳扎的话，就基本上我们不要犯太多失误的话，都能顺利打下来。
可以跟我们说一下是什么样子的失误呢？
就是因为我们第一把就前面中山野3v3的时候，在上河道的时候嘛，我们就不小心给到阿肯尼2颗头了，才导致到他的搭桩太快成型，变成是我们的后面的龙团跟先锋团，然后中路线的牵权就比较难受一点，因为阿肯尼实在太肥了，就我们装备还没有的时候，我们是处理不了他的，所以我们变成是第一把有很多东西都要让。
So he said that game 2 and game 3, they were just really able to play to their strengths. He said, I think like individually and as a team, what they were doing was all of them played stable. They tried to make as few mistakes as possible. And because that went smoothly, they were able to close out game 2 and game 3 pretty well. He was talking a bit about also game number 1 in terms of what kind of mistakes they're making. He said that early on, over in top as well as River, kind of lost control a bit there. Their largest mistake was really just allowing Akali to get the double kill early on, so she hit level 6 pretty early, and also she was able to get her ultimate. She was ahead in items, so that kind of made it difficult for them to kind of play during the early and mid game. It made it difficult around Dragon Pit as well as put some pressure on mid also. So at that point, what they had to do was they just kind of had to wait it out and wait for like the rest of the team to catch up, and then that was how they came back in game number 1. Great. So I have a question for you for game number 2. Also, when you guys picked the Nidalee for River, wanted to ask, is that something that you guys have played before, or you guys discussed before? Tell us more about that strategy. 接下来问题就是想问第2把你们是打野选了奈德里，想问这是不是事先练好的套路呢？
对啊，就是因为 Weaver 好像最近比较爱上猫咪嘛，所以他就觉得比赛那个豹女的话也是不错，就是因为他最近爱上了猫了，所以他敢在比赛里面用。
好的 So he said that River is on a cat craze lately, and he's just like fallen for cats, but he's been playing a lot of Nidalee and been practicing a lot of it, and he's been having some pretty good results on the Nidalee, so the team decided, you know what, we'll just bring it out in competition for today. Great. Talking about River, I also wanted to ask you guys what communication is like on the team River, because he is Korean, and like your team's official channels have been posting a lot of mic checks, which are really interesting to see. But one thing that we noticed was that River's Chinese is actually pretty good. Like he can call out some pretty complicated things in Chinese. So we wanted to ask, was it that his Chinese like improved as the season went on? Like early on at the start of Spring Split, was it just communicating in pings? Tell us about it, and also tell us if any of your teammates have been teaching teaching him Chinese. 接下来问题就是关于你们团队跟 River 的沟通，毕竟因为他也是韩援嘛，然后最近也有看到你们的团队有上好几个就 mic check， 然后看了 mic check， 我就感觉到 River 的中文其实是挺好的，然后想问，就是从春季赛开赛到今天是渐渐进步的吗？还是你们团队个人有教他一点中文，还是什么？可以跟我们分享一下吗？
就是因为 Viv 的训练就跟我们就是同一队了，所以他去年中文还没到现在那么好。就是我们从去年开始慢慢一步一步的教他更多关于游戏里面的中文。然后在今年的时候，因为我们有 Maple 跟我们有 Maple 的加入吧，所以有时候我们火龙跟 Maple 也会教他一些比较奇怪的中文，所以他现在不管是游戏内还是游戏外的中文都是越学越好。
So he said that Rivers Chinese wasn't actually this good last year. He said that Rivers Chinese actually was improved a lot this year. And just like throughout the split, it was just kind of like individual members on the team just gradually teaching him bits and pieces of Chinese here and there during practice. Also, he said that because this split, they do have the addition of Maple, and with like the Maple and River combination, Maple is able to communicate very well with River, and they both kind of just teach each other new things. 想问一下，你刚才说什么奇怪的中文
因为基本上大家都知道嘛，学习语言第一步就是要学习，对，
什么都没有，
就是大家知道就好了，这个。
So he mentioned that River's Chinese actually has been improving not just in game but also outside of game, and he said that he thinks it's common knowledge and everyone knows this. When you're learning a foreign language, it's kind of it's the easiest to remember if you're not learning traditional things. And he didn't elaborate too much about it. He was just like, I think everyone knows what he is talking about. We will move on to our next question, which is to do with the compositions that PSG have been playing throughout playoffs and as well as today in particular, because it kind of feels as if PSG is so good a team that you guys can play any type of composition. So we wanted to ask what composition your team is most comfortable playing with, and also if in the finals we can expect any new type of strategies, or will it be the same sort of things that you guys have been playing so far? 接下来问题想问的就是关于你们的阵容，就因为感觉 PSG 你们这个团队就可以说你们是任何阵容都可以打，所以想问，就礼拜天，可以期待什么新招数吗？还是你们会照样稳打呢？还有，就关于阵容的话，你们感觉最喜欢打的是什么样子的阵容？
喜欢打怎么样子的阵容？因为就是我们就礼拜天的话就要看那个对手有没有机会让我们拿到不同的阵容吧，因为我们在训练赛的时候也要准备2-3套吧，现在还没用出来的。然后你说最好打什么阵容的话，其实不管对面是发育还是进攻性的，我觉得我们只要玩好自己的话都能应对的。
So he said, with regards to composition, of course, during scrims and during practice, they have been experimenting with 2 or 3 new types of compositions, new types of champs that they actually haven't pulled out in competition just yet. He said, of course, it will also depend on who they face off against on Sunday and whether or not, the team is going to let them get those types of picks, whether they're going to let them pick the sort of composition that they want to play. But he said that regardless of what the enemy team picks up on Sunday, whether it's a late game scaling type of composition, whether it's a more early game aggressive type of composition, he says that they're pretty confident that as long as they do their own thing properly, they'll be able to win on Sunday. So I like the confidence coming out from that. Of course, I have to ask, are you guys confident for Sunday's finals? 那当然想问的就是后天有自信会赢吗？感觉就 Beyond Gaming 还有 Magi 明天他们对比的话，感觉谁会赢？还有后天的 Jess 有没有自信？
这个 这个也比较难，因为毕竟这是 Beyond Gaming 跟那个 Magi 他们也是在 PC 里面，这算是很强的队伍了。然后实力也比较很接近。然后因为就 Beyond Gaming 嘛，就是继承了 A 的遗志，因为我觉得他们打团就很强嘛，所以我觉得不管明天的话，就是我们礼拜天打谁都是赢速度精彩吧。感觉他们明天，我觉得就是我们对上谁也是有自信拿下来的。
How that so he said that as for who's going to win in tomorrow's lower bracket finals between Beyond Gaming as well as Machi, he said it's a bit difficult to tell because Beyond Gaming as well as Machi are such strong teams. He said within the PCS, of course, they're top 2, top 3. They're the second and third strongest teams in the entire league. But he thinks that it will definitely be an exciting series. He also thinks that for Sunday's finals, regardless of who it is that makes it through to face them again, he thinks that it will also be a very exciting final series and that they are confident that they will be able to take the win on Sunday. Thank you so much, Kai Wing, for the winner review, and of course, best of luck on Sunday. 好的，那就非常感谢 Kai Wing 接受这次的赛后采访，当然也要祝 PSG 后天的决賽加油。
我们会努力的。
Casters, back to you guys.
Thank you, Ray Ray Chu, and thank you, Kai Wing, for joining us for an interview. It's always good to get insight into what they're thinking, and I love the fact that River loving cats is why they went in Italy.
I mean, I was saying on the Twitch chat, if anyone was joining, I was saying that, just make Kai Wing his pet cat, by selecting Yumi, and then just play Rengar jungle. I think, just to go for that duo cat jungle, it's actually got like really good synergy as well. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see that it's like a hidden strat. Maybe I just exposed them.
Yeah, I mean, like, with the team comps that they haven't tried yet, the fact that he said there's a couple up his sleeve, I'm excited to see what they are, because could it be something like a Draven? Like, could it be something like...
It could be. I mean, that's
excited.
Probably like the most standard one, Draven AD carries. Like, every team's just like, well, maybe this guy can play Draven.
True.
Yeah, but I don't really know. Hey, maybe a mage bot lane. I don't know. Maybe something. I don't know. Something spicy. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe not. We're just waiting on a little bit of a stats card. I mean, for today's matches. Actually, we'll go into it right now. It is today's match. PSG 3-0 Beyond Gaming, and that means Beyond Gaming are now relegated to the losers bracket versus Machi X. Now, this is going to take place tomorrow, and then the day that follows will be the grand final for PCS, PSG versus the winner between Beyond Gaming and Machi X.
Yeah, tomorrow will be I believe tomorrow will be the closest series that the playoffs has had and maybe will have. Beyond Gaming and Machi X are they're super close. Like 2 and 3, I believe, was the closest teams were.
Look, I want to see. I actually want to see how Machi X versus not Beyond Gaming versus PSG.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of rooting for Machi X, but I kind of think Beyond Gaming is a better team, but I kind of also feel like I want to see Gemini and Jimmy and going against River Maple, because that is just going to be two explosive duos clashing each other.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like, both, like, it's so exciting, because I really want to see, I want to see that jungle duel, because it feels like today it was a lot of Husha just, conceding against River, whereas in a series against Machi vs PSG, I don't think there'll be any conceding. I feel like they'll butt heads, and that'll be super exciting to see. So if that's the final on Sunday, that'll be exciting to see. But for tomorrow, that will definitely be an exciting series as well. Like we mentioned, Beyond Gaming vs Machi X, super close. I feel like Mission versus Maowan might be the same as Maple versus Maowan, because Mission is kind of a super mid himself, so that'll be interesting to see if Maowan can bounce back and perform better than he did today.
Yeah, I mean, we will see tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we will have to finish off the cast now. It is at the end of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow back here for the game between Beyond Gaming and Machix. And I just want to shout out to Verbatim. This is going to be his last cast of the split. Thank you very much, Verbatim. It has been a great pleasure casting with you.
Oh, thank you, Calvin. It's been great casting with both yourself and Clement. I feel like you and I have grown quite a bit as casters this season, and Clement's helped a lot, so shout out to him. And thank you everyone for having me on the broadcast. It's a great honor to cast the PCS, a great region. I think could sneak up to potentially third region in the world currently. So yeah, thank you for having me, and please tune in tomorrow to see Clement and Calvin going at it, and to watch Beyond Gaming versus Machix. So please tune in tomorrow, and thank you for watching.